31 past 7 o'clock, new tornado warning has just been issued for areas south of Kansas City. Tornado warning now in effect for parts of Linn County. Linn County over on the Kansas side. We've got a tornado warning in effect now. This is going to go until 8 o'clock for you folks in Racine, Lynn Valley, Mound City, roughly about 3,000 of you. A radar indicated circulation that may try to produce a tornado over the next few minutes to maybe hours time. The area of concern is not for Kansas City. All right, we're just getting general rain. There are some pretty strong thunderstorms off to our east, but the area of concern is right down there. You could see it down towards Linn County. Let me go ahead and kind of zoom in for you and give you a better idea exactly what we're looking at in terms of where the storm is and where the storm is going. It's right up through there. Let's see. Let me get it back home here for a second. The tornado warning that's in effect for Linn County is going to continue up until 8 o'clock, as I mentioned. And what we're expecting to see from this storm is the potential of strong gusty winds, maybe a tornado. Again, maybe a tornado associated with this right down through there. Let me go ahead and take you down there. There's our storm that we're concerned about. Again, this would include Mound City. This includes Racine. This includes Pleasanton as well. And the circulation would probably be very close to K7 based on what we're looking at right now. So if you live in Blue Mound, you're fine. All right, if you live down towards Prescott, you're fine. I want to give the folks down in southeastern Miami County a little heads up as well. We'll see how well this circulation holds together. This is the storm that we've been tracking essentially since Texas a little while ago, or actually a few hours ago, as it's been moving off towards the northeast and east-northeast. So again, the circulation right about there, just towards the west of K7. Not necessarily the greatest looking circulation, but there's something going on down there. We've been tracking that for the last about hour or so. I want to go ahead and put a little storm track on this for you as well as it continues to move off towards the northeast, or actually maybe east-northeast at around 30, 35 miles an hour or so. So if you live down towards the Farlandville area, Trading Post, Mulberry, again, this is down towards Linn County on the Kansas side, south of Racine. If you live in Racine, I want you to go ahead and take cover from this storm. You are under this tornado warning, and that's going to go, as mentioned, up until about 8 o'clock or so. So we're going to stay with you for at least the next 26 minutes as we cover this storm as it's moving off towards the north and east. Again, radar indicated doesn't mean anything's officially on the ground, but it may be producing a wall cloud, perhaps a funnel cloud, and we'll keep an eye on it for the potential of producing maybe a little something worse than that as it moves up. So again, just a heads up for you folks in far southeastern portions of Miami County and maybe even the far northwestern kind of tip of Bates County as well. Ironically, these are kind of the same areas that were impacted yesterday. The storms that we've got here in Kansas City proper, these are more or less run-of-the-mill thunderstorms, east side of the metro, a little bit more vulnerable right now to 40 to 60 mile an hour straight line winds. There have been some tiny areas of hail, nothing overly concerning with this. But again, from a time frame standpoint, for this activity down towards Linn County, Farlandville in the next couple of minutes, make sure you're in your safe spot. Trading Post by about 7:48, Mulberry by about 8 o'clock or so, and it concerns that circulation right in through there that is moving off towards the north and east. And for the metro, like I mentioned, I know we've got a lot of folks who are concerned about what's going on around Kansas City because we are getting thunder, we are getting rain, lots of lightning out there, very good lightning producers, but right now nothing severe, and I think most of the severe activity will remain south and east of Kansas City, at least for the next couple of hours. I think most of the metro is going to be okay. Again, here's our storm. You can clearly see it. There is a little inflow notch right in through there, so that's something that we're going to watch, but at least at this point, not getting any reports of anything actually on the ground. Tornado warning, though, continues up until about 8 o'clock or so. Want to bring in meteorologist Jacob Lanier. We've been kind of taking a little bit of a break in terms of the real active weather, but now things starting to pick up. Once again, Jacob.
That's right, Joe. And you know, we've been watching and talking about this new Fox 4 tornado predictor that we have this spring. And so I wanted to look at that with this storm and kind of the whole metro in general. Generally a very low rotating risk for the immediate Kansas City metro. You have to travel much further south down 69 Highway. And once you get down into Lynn County, Lacine, Mound City, where the tornado warning is right now, that's where there's, say, a little bit more of a medium chance for a possible tornado, according to our new Fox 4 tornado predictor. So that kind of lines up with what the National Weather Service is thinking here. And so that is where they've issued that tornado warning. And again, that goes until 8 o'clock. So here's the warning right now. As I loop radar for us, this is Lynn County, Kansas. The rotation is right along K7. So this includes Lacine, Lynn Valley, Mound City until 8 o'clock. Again, about, as Joe mentioned, maybe about 3,000 households down here across northern Lynn County. This is north of Mound City and just south of Lacine, but it's kind of tracking north up towards the Lacine area. When we look at rotation or the wind mode here on Fox 4 radar, it's really hard for me to pinpoint a tight area of rotation. There's some broad rotation in this. There's certainly some strong winds. And so I'll query those and show kind of what these peak wind estimates are. Maybe 50 miles per hour. So again, we're looking kind of in the mid-level of the storm here with our Doppler radar. Still though, a lot of this is red, which means it's all kind of going in the same direction. We might have, say, 5 mile per hour winds going in the opposite direction. But that's about it. So 50 mile per hour rotation or so here in this cell. Our rotation tracker has indicated some hints at rotation here, nothing extremely that's jumping out to me, but it's certainly possible that we have a spin up here with this tornado warning in Lynn County. Now, the National Weather Service not saying this is on the ground. This is not a confirmed warning. This is radar indicated. And in my mind, what actually looks the most like a rotating cell is when you look at the reflectivity mode here. We are kind of along a cluster now, but this is a little bit of a notch here in the last couple of radar scans where we might look for some type of rotation in an environment like this. We're looking at this line here that's moving off towards the north and east, about 50 miles per hour or so. And where we get these notches right here is where, say, the wind or inflow into the storm may be rotated or pulled in a little bit. So this may be the setup here where the squall line is trying to move towards the north and east. There's this little bit of a kind of a surge of winds, say just near Mound City, and that allows just the smallest window for winds to maybe sneak in on the north side of that. And then if that continues to organize, we see a little bit of rotation.
And where is it?
And if there's rotation, it would be right there near Pleasanton. So that's where we're watching the possible rotation, really kind of from Pleasanton up to Lacine. The velocity, not super impressive right now. Let's see, Joe, I'm not seeing any updates from the National Weather Service on this, really.
Yeah, so far so good, and that's always fine by us. Again, this tornado warning down towards Lynn County will continue for the next 21 minutes unless it's canceled ahead of time. We've got a crew down to our south. Jana was talking to me a second ago, and I didn't hear you clearly. I don't know if they're available or not to do a report for us. They're driving through some pretty heavy rains down there. We had a crew heading down towards Garnett. And then we were diverting them over towards the Mound City area with this cell coming up from the south and west. Are they available, Jana, or no? Oh, Sean is. Let's go ahead and go to Sean and get brought up to date as far as what he's experiencing and where he is right now. Sean, take it away.
Joe, Lauria, hello from Cass County. We are live just off Commercial Drive in Harrisonville. I'm going to get George Howard, our photographer, to show you a little bit of the heavy rain and the high wind that we're getting right now in this largely retail area. Some of you may be familiar with this area that's just off one of the main streets through Harrisonville here near the Bazaar. I think everybody knows that landmark. But we've got dark skies. We've got some good strong winds going through here. The roads are certainly taking on water and getting wet. We're not seeing any pooling yet. We are seeing a lot of heavy rain come down. That's certainly going to be a concern since we've taken on quite a bit of rain very quickly. I don't have a measurement or anything. I can only tell you that in the short time, relatively short time that George and I have been in this position, we have seen a lot of rain come down very, very quickly, really in just the last 30 to 40 minutes. Again, we can't say much, at least from our vantage point. We can't tell you a lot about rotation and what might be circulating above us, but we can tell you that here on the ground in Cass County, we're certainly getting wet. We are keeping our eyes on the weather forecast and on the radar, just like all of you at home, and we're certainly weather aware here at Fox 4 News. Joe, let me send it back to you on Signal Hill.
All right, Sean, just watch out for that lightning and watch out for the flooding. More on the flooding situation here in just a second. So for those of you just joining us, again, a reminder that we do have a tornado warning now in effect for Lynn County. This is on the Kansas side, not the Missouri side, Lynn County on the Kansas side, including Racine, Lynn Valley, Mound City. All right, it's radar indicated, and as Jacob and I have been analyzing radar, at least right now, it doesn't look overly impressive. But, you know, better safe than sorry for the folks down in Lynn County. Hopefully we could cancel that warning pretty quickly. I wanted to also bring folks up in eastern Jackson County, western portions of Lafayette County, northwestern and western Johnson County over on the Missouri side, Cass County too. All right, we've got a pretty good thunderstorm complex moving eastbound, and right over the last maybe half hour or so, we did get a wind gust report out of Independence of 60-mile-an-hour winds. In addition to, I mean, it is just flat out pouring out there. So please watch out for, you know, the normal areas, intersections that have a tendency to get flooded. Watch out for that. Let's see. So tornado warning, again, that goes until 8 o'clock. They've also expanded a severe thunderstorm warning, also for Lynn County with a tornado possible tag. That's going to go up until about 8:30. All right, so that's all for this area down there. Cass County is also now under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. That's coming in as we speak. But again, for this activity, that's going from Buckner to east of Blue Springs, over towards Odessa, around the Oak Grove area, Grain Valley, down towards Pleasant Hill and Harrisonville. Maybe some gusty winds coming out of that. The timing on this would be Lexington by about 7:48, Higginsville by about 8 o'clock, Warrensburg 8:16, Montserrat around 8:26, Knob-Noster around 8:32, and around 8:45 or so towards the Marshall area. So if you live out towards 65 Highway, particularly from Sedalia north towards Marshall, just be aware of that, you know, pretty impressive line of storms moving eastbound. There's a lot of lightning with it, but not necessarily a ridiculous amount of lightning associated with it. For you folks up in northern Missouri, you've had a rough day. All right, we've had numerous tornado touchdowns across the far northwestern tip of Missouri, going all the way towards Mercer County. But this is not for you, I don't think. I think you're probably done in terms of the worst of the weather. We'll keep an eye out towards Lynn County on the Missouri side, down through Carroll County and Saline County as well, with this activity pressing off towards the east-northeast. So again, just a reminder, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings right now in effect for eastern portions of Jackson County, a good chunk of Cass County too, essentially including Harrisonville all the way up towards Pleasant Hill. And we continue to have that tornado warning down towards Lynn County. Notice north and west of I-35, the tornado watch now has been dropped. So if you live on the Kansas side of the metro, you're out of that tornado watch. Jackson County's still in it, but you'll probably get dropped here pretty soon. And that tornado watch continues up until about the midnight hour for areas off towards the northeast and east of Kansas City. The other issue that we're going to probably have to deal with overnight tonight is the potential of flooding rains. That's going to be a problem. We could just look outside. If you're getting some of these thunderstorms, you could see just how hard the rain is coming down. So this is what we've been expecting for the week. We've been expecting some of this real heavy rain, if nothing else. Our model data is suggesting anywhere from 2 to upwards of 6 inches from roughly the metro south and east. I'm really concerned about this area southeast of Kansas City, Warrensburg, Clinton, Sedalia, Marshall, Warsaw, all the way down towards Harrisonville and Butler. You may be just primed overnight tonight for some real heavy rain. So if you're working the late night shift for tonight, and if you're out on those rural roads where, you know, you get into those dips and you can't see all that clearly, please watch out for standing and or rushing water. Don't want you to get yourself into a bad position as far as the heavy rains go off towards the south and east of Kansas City. Areas north and west of Kansas City probably not getting all that much rain of any significance, although you'll definitely take it because we still have moderate drought conditions, technically, up across northwest Missouri and northeast Kansas. All right, I want to send it back over to Jacob. He's going to focus a little bit more on what's going on with this system down towards Lynn County. Jacob.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. So again, we have this tornado warning. That's why we're here on the air tracking the severe weather for you. And that goes until 8 o'clock here. So it includes Lacine, Mound City areas just north of Pleasanton. And I've put on kind of our rotation tracker mode. Notice that circling mesocyclone. That's our Fox 4 detection that may be in the mid-levels of the storm. There is some rotation. And this storm is just north of Blue Mound, Kansas, where there actually was a reported tornado yesterday. But in Blue Mound, Kansas right now, we have our Fox 4's Jacob Sloan, and he's keeping an eye on this tornado-warned storm. Jacob, you guys are probably behind the storm, but have you been able to see anything that looks severe rotating in this storm?
Haven't seen anything in terms of rotation. I'll tell you what we are seeing, and I'll show you as well. It is a lot of localized flooding, and there's some even spilling into the road here as we're only going about 20, maybe 30 miles per hour. But like you said, we are in between Blue Mound and Mound City, Kansas. Haven't seen anything in terms of rotation. Like you said, we may be behind that tornado or rotation, if you will, but we haven't seen any of that so far. What we are seeing, like I said, is some pretty heavy rain, localized flooding. You can see off to the right of the road here, the ditch is just full of water, and even the fields out to the sides of the road you just saw on the left there are pretty soaked and starting to get some standing water. So definitely a concern down here for water crossing over the roads. We've seen some pretty large puddles so far, but in terms of rotation, Jacob, nothing so far. Of course, we'll keep you updated as we are headed towards Mound City from Blue Mound. So we're heading east towards kind of the state line area.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Jacob, for that update down from Lynn County. He is not too far away from this actual tornado warning, and it's great to have Sean and Jacob and our eyes and ears out on the ground here as they're storm chasing for us this evening here on Fox 4. Latest wind speeds right now on our wind mode, 60 miles per hour, even straight line wind damage, certainly possible in this storm down in Lynn County. There's the potential for some weak rotation in this. Right now, though, it looks like this may be more of a straight lined wind thing that's heading towards Lacine and about to hit 69 highway here on the Kansas side off to the south of the Kansas City Metro. There's a lot more warnings, though, popping up out ahead of this. Severe thunderstorm warnings, kind of including parts of the metro and areas further off towards the east. It looks like there's a new severe thunderstorm warning that's now crossing into Bates County as this line of damaging winds and this potential spin up is now maybe about to cross the state line in places like Drexel and over towards Butler and Adrian. And the National Weather Service has put a tornado possible tag on this warning for Bates, Lynn, and Miami County. That's going to go until 8:30. So maybe here as we get closer to 8 o'clock, this tornado warning may expire or be canceled, and then we'll be looking at a possible tornado inside this severe thunderstorm. So flooding a big risk with this too. These storms are starting to train, and Joe, it looks like a lot of spots have already received at least an inch.
Yeah, and we're getting, as you mentioned, that additional flash flood warning down to our south. I just wanted to try to clarify with my colleagues down at the National Weather Service. I find it a little odd that we've got a couple of things going on here in terms of that tornado warning with a severe thunderstorm warning kind of surrounding it with the tornado possible tag. So I wanted to just make sure, and let me just, they're talking to me right now. Yes. Okay. So they're keeping both things going on. I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. Lacine, Lynn Valley still under that tornado warning up until about 8 o'clock or so. Nothing reportedly touching down. This is just a radar indication of a possible tornado circulation. We'll zoom in on that in just a second. The tornado watch continues to be dropped for areas west of I-35. As a matter of fact, everybody west of I-35 is out of the watch. This watch for the Missouri side and just a couple of counties down here goes until about midnight, but that'll get dropped as well, I think, well before midnight. So you could see what I'm talking about. This area in red down towards Lynn County, that's our tornado warning. Again, that does include Lacine. That goes up until about 8 o'clock. And then notice how we have this red outline around the yellow box. That represents a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible. So a couple of things going on down here, a little confusing. But again, the bottom line is we still have a tornado warning for about the next 9 minutes for this area down here towards the northern and at least north central portion of Lynn County. The flooding thing is becoming a thing, and this is what we've been concerned about for the last couple of days. Notice how the storms are sort of training along roughly kind of like, you know, a train on a set of railroad tracks. They're basically going from the southwest to the northeast, so you're getting repeated areas of very heavy rain, as we saw from our report just a few minutes ago, mentioning the risk of flooding and a lot of ponding and puddles building up some of the roads. For the metro, we're just getting a good steady rain. For the east part of the metro into western Lafayette County, those storms have weakened just a little bit, hopefully not producing those strong gusty winds anymore. We did get a report from Lynn County of 60, or actually check that, from Independence, of 60-mile-an-hour winds. So again, the main warnings right now are down to our south and west. That seems to be the main area of concern. And the timing on this initial leading edge, which may still be producing 40 to 50-mile-an-hour winds, heading towards Higginsville by about 8 o'clock, Warrensburg by 8:16, Montserrat by about 8:26, 8:30 or so, likewise Knob Noster, and then the Marshall area by about 8:42. For far northern Missouri, north and east of the metro, an area that's had all sorts of issues for the last several hours, really going back to around 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. It's been a rough day for northern Missouri with tornadoes and tornado touchdowns, etc. This is more of your heavy thunderstorm activity, locally heavy rains, but nothing that's overly concerning at this point in terms of any tornadic production. So you might get a little hail, nothing too big with that though. And actually, at least for the last few hours, we really haven't seen any really big hailstones. Gotten some quarter-size hail, maybe a couple of hailstones just a little bit bigger than that for northern Missouri. But again, we haven't seen those really giant type hailstones coming from any of these cells. They've either produced tornadoes up across northern Missouri, or for the east side of the metro, they've produced a 60-mile-an-hour wind, some penny-sized hail, nothing damaging from a hail standpoint. So, you know, that's all okay, at least for Kansas City. It's been a rough day of it up across northern Missouri. And again, the flooding concern is definitely there, with anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of rain possible, roughly between now and late tonight and tomorrow, even into tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures are going to be still pretty mild tomorrow in the middle 70s, and we're not out of the woods even tomorrow, although the risk of severe weather here in Kansas City proper looks to be limited. We might get a couple of storms later on tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, might produce some hail. We'll see about that. But we'll keep an eye out for areas off towards the east of Kansas City for the potential of some stronger storms. Again, remember, we continue to have that tornado warning in effect for Lynn County up until about 8 o'clock or so. Here's Jacob.
Yeah, that's right, Joe, and I'm watching this instability. You know, we had a lot of storm fuel today. We were wondering about the storm mode, if it was going to be messy, and that has kind of eliminated the severe weather threat for most of the Kansas City metro, which is good. And now notice the blue shading that we're seeing over the metro. The blue indicates that there's a lid on the atmosphere. It's capped. There's no more fuel left, and so that is a good thing to see kind of behind this line of storms. Once this line of storms move through, the severe weather threat, at least for this evening and tonight, is kind of winding down. Still plenty of storm energy for places like down towards Butler, Harrisonville, Sedalia, and Warsaw, and that's where we're still going to have to monitor these storms as they move off towards the south and east here of Kansas City over the next several hours. That's where we have this still one tornado warning that goes now for about the next 5 minutes, including the town of Lacine. Still, though, not overly impressed with the rotation in this storm. The National Weather Service probably going to let this tornado warning ride until 8 o'clock, and then they have this severe thunderstorm warning that says there's the potential for a brief spin up that goes now until 8:30. So that may just be what we're dealing with. Really strong winds in this, regardless if it's straight line winds or a tornado, it could still do some localized damage, and that's right now nearing Lacine and about to cross 69 highway. So I'm going to query a couple of these wind speeds, and this is aloft here in the storm. We're getting a 62-mile-per-hour wind estimate, and that is probably getting brought down to the surface, which is going to cause some severe thunderstorm winds and wind damage possible just because of the rain that's falling heavily, and that's an effective way these downdrafts will bring the mid-level winds that are 60, 70 miles per hour to the surface. And that's how we realize and see these surface level winds reach the 60-mile-per-hour, which is our severe weather threshold. So even though all these winds are heading in the same direction, 50 to 65 miles per hour, that could cause straight line wind damage here in Linn County as this is moving just to the south of Lacine. Now, a rotation tracker still hinting at maybe a little bit of rotation here, and that might be what the National Weather Service was keeping an eye on here as it's tracked through Linn County. But overall, this is kind of weak and kind of a little oddball rotation here, a little bit behind where I would typically expect it on a storm like this on the leading edge of this kind of squall line of severe thunderstorms. I would typically expect this probably to be maybe a little bit further off towards the east or the leading edge of this line. Still, though, there's a little bit of a notch there. Also, this is the flash flood warning here. So again, we've been talking about this. Joe's been showing you these rainfall forecasts. The flash flood threat needs to be emphasized as we head into this evening. We've already had ½ inch to 1 inch across most of the area. A solid 2, 3, 4 inches possible tonight. That's going to cause the ponding on the roadways. We've seen the localized flooding from Sean McDowell in Cass County, Jacob Sloan in Linn County. So this is happening, and this flash flood warning goes until 1:45 a.m. for Bates and Linn County, the entirety of both of those counties, now that this heavy rain is moving through. So that's something that we're going to have to monitor as well. A quick check of our Fox 4 tornado predictor to see where that is standing. There's still the potential that this is going to maybe cross the state line into southern Cass and northern Bates County. I think the National Weather Service giving us some updates on they might let this tornado warning expire, Joe. But we'll have to watch maybe some embedded circulations over the next hour or so.
So they're going to keep an eye on that cell, as you mentioned, Jacob, and we're going to probably toss it back to programming here very shortly. But just to go through the process here, for the next about 2 minutes or so, a tornado warning continues in effect for Linn County, as Jacob mentioned. That includes Lacine and Lynn Valley. I think in the next few minutes, you folks, if you are in your safe spot, you could probably come out of your safe spot. And again, just a reminder that we're especially watching these areas over on the Missouri side. Essentially, you know, I'm going to take Jackson County out of this as well, I think, for the time being. Anything, you know, in this general area and points east. So if you live in Carrollton, Chillicothe, Warrensburg, Sedalia, Clinton, Harrisonville, you know, Cole Camp down towards the lakes, you're still sort of in the process that you still have enough stuff going on within the atmosphere that you could still see a little spin up or something like that. But for everybody else, if you live north and west of I-35, you're done. All right, you're done with the threat of severe weather for the remainder of tonight. Now just focus your attention on the heavier rains that have been pushing through the area. On that subject, the heaviest rains so far in the last about 12 hours or so have been up across northeast Kansas, northwest Missouri. But I think our radar algorithm here is still playing catch up to some extent. I was querying some of this rainfall data down here indicating 1 to 2 inches of rain. But remember, it's been coming down within the last couple of hours. So that's why we're starting to see some of the localized flooding crop up, especially over towards the Carrollton area, north of Carrollton to near and south and east of Chillicothe and around the Brookfield area as well. Let's see, what have they ended up doing?
Looks like it's expiring right now, Joe.
Okay, so that tornado warning is going to go ahead and expire right now for Linn County on the Kansas side. If you're in Linn County, you've been watching our coverage. If you're in your safe spot, go ahead and come out of your safe spot. I think you're going to be okay. We'll keep an eye on any additional storms that may be coming our way. Fox 4 News at 9 is coming our way as well in about an hour to hour and a half after the football game. So let's go ahead and send you back to Fox Football. 18 minutes past 8 o'clock, new tornado warning now issued. This will go until 9 o'clock down towards Bates County. It's that same cell coming out of Linn County that's showing pretty good indications that along the leading edge, we may see some of these, what we refer to as little quick spin-ups. Typically, these are the type of tornadoes that don't necessarily stay on the ground for all that long, but they can produce some localized, very localized areas of damage with winds in excess of 60 to 80 miles an hour. Again, something down towards Bates County. This is passing south of Kansas City. It does include parts of Cass County as well. Adrian, Butler, Rich Hill. Rich Hill once again. Yesterday they were in a tornado warning, and today they are as well. That's affecting roughly 8,500 people towards the south of Kansas City. So here we've got our warning. Again, this is mostly for central and eastern Bates County and just a little sliver of southeastern Cass County. All right, that's down I-49. That would be south of Harrisonville. You folks in the Butler area are under that particular warning. And again, this warning will go up until about 9 o'clock or so for this evening. Let me show you radar and show you how things are looking here. And the things that we start to watch for now that we've moved into the overnight hours, this isn't your traditional big wide tornado type setup for this particular system. This is one of those little spinny things that you get right along the leading edge. And we mentioned this yesterday, how we could see something like this south and east of Kansas City, and that's what we're starting to see right now, very close to the I-49 corridor. So for you folks in Adrian, Butler, down towards Rich Hill, all right, and points eastward, I want you folks to be in your safe spot right now. And a heads up for Uric, all right, I want you folks to be prepared to go into your safe spot, because I would not be surprised if that gets extended into the northwest corner of Henry County down towards the south of Kansas City. So the leading edge is right there, and it's very difficult to pinpoint where any particular area of rotation is, although we're going to do a little bit better than this broad view for you. But I just wanted to give you a broader view. Again, Holden, 847, Clinton, depending on what the activity down towards Rich Hill does, that would be around 9 o'clock. We'll see about the Warrensburg area for this part of the cell. So you folks down through here, central portion of Bates County, right along the I-49 corridor and points off towards the east, pay attention to that cell. Again, a tornado warning continues up until about 9 o'clock. For the metro, we're just getting a good soaking rain. That's it. The severe weather threat now is all associated with these storms that you see off well east of Kansas City and about a county, if not 2 counties, towards the south of Kansas City, and that's the area of concern right now. Our velocity product, you know, there could be something a little right there, maybe something a little bit right there. But again, these are going to be very difficult to say, oh, wow, we've got a tornado on the ground. It's at night, it's in the rain, it's kind of tough to make out, but that's why we've got a broad area here that we're watching. So Passaic, Butler, down towards the south along 52 highway up towards Highway 18 or so. That's the area that we're watching in particular for these small, quick little spin-ups, something that's actually not uncommon when we have a squall line moving through parts of the area. We get these sometimes here in Kansas City. Areas south and east of Kansas City typically have a bigger issue with these things, at least in my decades of experience here in Kansas City. These little quick little spin-ups are always an issue when you have these squall lines coming through and you have an atmosphere that is right now conducive to allow some of these spin-ups to occur. So again, a reminder that our tornado warning for Bates County continues up until about 9 o'clock or so. Jacob is here with a little bit more of an analysis about what's going on with these cells as they move off towards the east-northeast at around 30 miles an hour, close to 40. Jacob.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. So what we call this is a QLCS, quasi-linear convective system. It's this line, and what I call kinks form along this line. And as we're heading into the evening and overnight hours, as Joe mentioned, that's usually here in Kansas and Missouri when we can get this QLCS or kind of linear quick spin-ups on the leading edge of some of these more organized thunderstorms. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Harrisonville to Rich Hill across Cass and Bates County. And then on the southern end of this, Adrian to Butler and down to Rich Hill, that's where there's the potential for some of these quick spin-ups. Now, our rotation tracker is pinpointing maybe a couple of these. As Joe was pointing out, I'm spying about 2 of them, one just north of Butler and one just north of Lone Oak. And when we're looking for tornadoes, usually in this type of setup, I'm looking for a quick inflow, and it may only be 1 pixel, and I see one of them right now up here just past Interstate 49 north of Butler. And we're going to zoom in here. This is right just to the south of Northeast State Route D. And what I'm seeing here is a bright red and a bright green pixel right next to each other. And when we measure those, we're getting 36-mile-per-hour winds and 49-mile-per-hour winds in opposite directions. That's about 85-mile-per-hour rotation. It's brief and it's small, but it could produce a spin up right there just to the east of Interstate 49 between Mill Street and State Route D, just on the north side of Butler. So some North Butler, northern neighborhoods in Butler may actually be seeing some of the worst of this wind, and maybe a brief, quick tornado touchdown here in Bates County as well, which is why this tornado warning is actually a little bit longer or taller, if you will, than typical, because this entire line from Rich Hill up to Adrian has the potential for some of those brief spin-ups. In addition to those small little eddies or kinks on the wind mode, we can also look for them on our reflectivity mode, and I kind of see that as well here up at this little notch right along State Route D just north of Butler on Interstate 49. And so there's a lot of lightning with this too. Our rotation tracker with this storm, I'm curious to see if it's highlighting any rotation there. We're getting a little of this dark blue, which indicates some light to moderate rotation, maybe in a few spots. So that is a trend that we're going to watch. And it's this line. There's a little bit more maybe down towards Lone Oak. So these are some of the things that we'll be keeping an eye on here as we head through the next several minutes. This goes until 9 o'clock here. By the way, our tornado predictor still highlighting maybe a medium chance for tornadoes here along the Interstate 49 corridor, moving up into northern Bates County, southern Cass County, eventually maybe over to Henry County if this line holds together. And we're just going to have to watch to see if this line remains organized. The notches in here still indicate to me that we could have maybe two areas of circulation, one on the north side, maybe one further on the south side, kind of going on either side of Butler there, Joe. But those are kind of the indications that I'm seeing that we might have two areas of circulation to watch in this tornado warning.
Yeah, and I want to go ahead and put a time frame on that. There's not much out there towards the east of I-49, but there are a couple of communities that we're watching. And again, we're on the air because of a tornado warning down towards Bates County and the extreme southeast corner of Cass County, and this will go until 9 o'clock or so for tonight. So odds are we're going to be on the air at least through 9 o'clock. It includes communities such as Adrian, Butler, and Rich Hill, although it looks like in the next few minutes we'll probably be able to clear the Butler area out of this. That's about 8,500 people on the south side. So again, this area right in through here, that's kind of what we're watching. All right, this is near Passaic. All right, and there you have State Route D, as Jacob was mentioning. So I wanted to put a little time frame on this for you, a little track. And so for those of you in the Ballard area, 8:36, you've got about 10 minutes or so before that little circulation, if it is producing anything, may not be, but it may be producing a little localized area. A lot of times we get these circulations, they don't produce tornadoes, but they can produce some very localized areas of wind damage, 60 to 80 mile an hour winds from thunderstorms. And again, you can kind of see it right in through there. It's just around I-49, just south of Passaic over into Bates County, moving off towards the east-northeast. Again, Ballard by around 8:36 or so. If you live close to Highway Route D or State Route D in this general area, I want you to go ahead and take cover. Again, there's not a lot out here. This is mostly a rural area. But again, just to be on the safe side, if you do, please be careful with that. A couple of other little areas that we're watching, that little area south of Butler, all right, and then this little area, a little broader rotation around Lone Oak, also moving up towards the east-northeast. So that's going to be roughly around the Highway 52, Highway O corridor, if you will, down towards central Bates County. Here's I-49. So it looks like, you know, there's that, and then there's that. So we're not totally clear. Actually, now we are totally clear. The latest radar scan now pushing everything off towards the east of I-49. So if you live in Butler, I think you're on the safe side now. If you live in Lone Oak, you're on the safe side. Let me clear this out just so that we could get a better view of what we're looking at here down to our south. Let's see, get rid of you. There we go. Broad, you know, maybe, and this is the other thing about these little localized areas of rotation. 1 second it's down there, next second it could be there, another second it could be right there. This is Mine Street, here's 52. All right, so that general area, Mine Street, downwards, so east of Butler to east of Lone Oak, go ahead and be in your safe spot just to be on the safe side, as we've mentioned. Within the next, I would say 15 minutes or so, it's going to be coming very close to the edge, to the county line. So we'll see what they decide to do after that. But again, it's at night. These things are a lot more difficult to spot, as you might imagine, because you've lost really any really good visuals from this. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue in effect as well for the southern portion of Cass County, down towards southeastern Miami County, and for the eastern half of Lynn County. But the main concern right now is this general area that you see in red from essentially east of 49 to the county line of Henry and Bates, down here towards and south and west of Creighton as well. That general area right in through there, that's the area that we're concerned about. If you live in Adrian, Butler, Rich Hill, if you live anywhere west of I-49, I think you're going to be okay. Seems like the worst of the weather has passed you by. And our tornado watch continues, by the way, for areas, from Warrensburg, Clinton, Windsor, Hughesville, Sedalia. I always get concerned, Jacob, that when we start seeing these little QLCSs, these little mesovortices, that once you start getting one or two, that you have a tendency to get 3 or 4 downstream. So you folks down to the south and east of Kansas City, I want you to be paying attention to the weather here over the next several hours, and don't be surprised, have your safety plan ready to go. Make sure your cell phones are charged if you live down towards Henry County, Pettis County. Pettis County is usually a tornado magnet during these type of situations. Even into Johnson County on the Missouri side, we certainly have seen issues with these in the past, and last few years especially, it seems like these little mesovortice tornadoes are becoming a little bit more of a common thing, especially for areas south and east of Kansas City. Jacob.
Yeah, Joe, and I wanted to let you know the Storm Prediction Center down in Norman keeping an eye on these storms too, and they've kind of given us a localized weather update saying that this southern line of storms has a higher chance for some of these spin-up tornadoes here over the next several hours. So I think you're right. We're probably going to be tracking this risk for a while here this evening, which we thought we might after sunset down towards the south. We figured we would have kind of this QLCS tornado risk because the low-level jet stream is kind of increasing, and those low-level winds can typically help these storm lines to start to rotate a little bit more. Now I'm zoomed in here pretty close into Bates County. There's kind of our bearings. This is the active tornado warning till 9 o'clock, but I wanted to zoom in close and show you. I'm analyzing this radar closely here, Fox 4 wind mode, and I'm seeing these 2 areas of rotation that Joe was mentioning, and one of them is due east of Butler. Another one is just south of the community of Altona, and we can identify them where these reds and greens meet. So here on this view, these red winds are moving south, these green winds are moving north, and so we can kind of easily identify where there's going to be some rotation. We're getting some inflow and then kind of the push from behind these as well, and that's where we get rotation. So we have the north storm here right now arriving along 18 highway, that's Missouri 18, just to the east of Adrian, and then another possible rotation just east of Butler and barely north of 52 highway. So these are the 2 areas of rotation in Bates County that are heading towards Ballard, Maysburg, and Johnstown in northeastern Bates County. So this is kind of our immediate tornado threat. And again, these may be quick and brief. They may almost look like gustnadoes because they're on the leading edge of this squall line, and they are eventually going to head towards the Henry County line. It also looks like on the southern edge of this, maybe there's even a 3rd area of rotation between Lone Oak and Prairie City. So these are the things we're going to have to look for, kind of getting into the weeds, but I want to identify those heightened areas for a quick tornado touchdown for you here on our Fox 4 wind mode. So we're going to leave these 3 areas of rotation up, and then we'll kind of zoom out a little bit and maybe do a storm track for where this line of potential spin-ups is headed. It's moving off towards the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So the ETA for this spin-up tornado line puts in Altoona in the next minute, 8:34. Hudson around 8:44. Appleton City at 8:55. Ladue there at 9. Clinton around 9:10. and Bethlehem by 9:20. So as this moves closer to Henry County, we're going to have to see if the National Weather Service does issue this downstream. So kind of 3 areas of rotation that we're keeping an eye on. Our Fox 4 rotation tracker signifying that there's kind of this line. It's also, as I have, identified 1, 2, 3 zones. One zone east there of Adrian on 18 Highway, one due east of Butler on 52 Highway, and one due east of Rich Hill. And then a final look here at our Fox 4 tornado predictor over the next hour, still showing that medium chance for QLCS tornadoes, these spin-ups along this leading line. And it's kind of a rough line there, Joe. Some gusty winds, maybe flash flooding too with some of this.
Yeah, those rains are coming down really hard down there. I haven't seen any reports of any hail or anything like that. I just checked in with my colleagues down at the National Weather Service. They are maintaining this tornado warning in Bates County at least until 9 o'clock or so. And as Jacob mentioned, we'll see whether or not they issue something a little further off towards the east or east-northeast of that current warning. They have issued a severe thunderstorm warning, though, for that whole area as well, and in advance of that line, and that's going to go until 9:30. All right, so we've got a tornado warning, and then on top of that, a severe thunderstorm warning for that same general area and points east. Again, Adrian, Hudson, Passaic. I think the system itself, the rotational part of the system, has cleared the Passaic area, so I think you folks are okay there. Likewise in Adrian, affecting about 2,100 people. I want to clear this out and give you a brand new storm track. This system and these little mesovortices that we referred to earlier, you know, these are the type of things that really tough to pinpoint for you. Sometimes you could get it just anywhere right along the leading edge of these things. And, you know, here's one little area right in through there, just towards the south and east of Altona. East of Adrian, down towards Missouri 18. Kind of see it right there, right? Very clearly, you could see the little couplet. All right, and that's more or less right in the middle of that red area that's been outlined for you for our tornado warning. Community called Maysville, or Maysburg rather, I should say, and Urich by about 8:52. Right there, looks like it's going to pass just towards the north and west of Ballard. That's Missouri 18 once again. And again, it's moving off towards the east-northeast. So that'll be an area that we have a little bit of a concern about. I'm going to show you a little track on that one particular cell. Or one part of that cell down towards the south, rather, of that area, right down towards, near Johnson. All right, moving off towards the east-northeast. That's heading towards Johnstown, rather, by about 8:40, and Piper by about 8:47, right in through here. So,
and Joe, we just got a new tornado warning.
Okay, Jacob, what is that new tornado warning?
So yeah, this is the new tornado warning that's downstream here. So as we were kind of mentioning, this is moving into Henry County. And so this is now going to be going for Henry and even Johnson County, Missouri, until 9:15. So this is the storm heading downstream. It includes Clinton, Urich, and Chillouee there in southern Johnson County, Missouri. So this is that line of possible embedded tornadoes moving off towards the east. So now until 9:15, Joe, we'll have to keep an eye on this line of quick spin-ups. The National Weather Service saying that we haven't had any reports yet in Bates County, but certainly looking like there are quick spin-ups trying to happen over the next 45 minutes. So we're still watching this line very closely, and will continue to do so over the next half hour, Joe.
And again, just a reminder, whether or not there's a tornado or not, damage is damage. If you have 60 to 80 mile an hour quick hitting winds, that could damage some outbuildings. We've seen, quite a bit of that in these storms over the last couple of days. So whether it's a tornado or not a tornado, it's always a good idea to be safe. And again, with this tornado warning that's been added on to now for parts of Cass, parts of Henry, parts of Johnson County, that would include Clinton. All right, that was, one of those towns that we were mentioning a little while ago, Deepwater, Montrose, Urich. Mentioned Urich just a few minutes ago as well. That's close to about 12,000 people that are being affected, and that's going to go until 9:15 for tonight. And then again, the system that's towards the east of I-49, that goes up until 9 o'clock or so. That's radar indicated. Both these things are radar indicated. Again, very difficult to make out exactly what is visually able to be seen with these cells. So let me go ahead and give you a better vantage point. And yeah, you can still, there are things going on down there. Whether or not it's a tornado or not, we'll see, but there's probably just a little area of enhanced winds down here that are potentially doing some damage in terms of straight line winds. Again, this is near the Ballard area. Actually, I could probably started it there. Heading towards Maysburg, Hartwell, maybe Livingston. You know, this little area right in through there, maybe something right there, a little further south too, perhaps around Montrose. So again, here are your times for those storms coming our way. Ballard, or actually their way. Ballard by about 8:40, Garland by 9:03, Livingston 9:06, Petersburg by about 9:07. Again, it'll be coming out of Bates County and moving into Henry County. And for your bearings, here's Missouri 18, okay? And you kind of see Missouri 13 as well. So this general area moving right into more or less the central and northern portion, northeastern portion of Henry County. That's where our new tornado warning will continue for a bit longer. I wanted to kind of give you a broader view as far as what's going on for you folks in Butler and Lone Oak. I want to clear you out of this. For those of you who live near Missouri Highway O, you're clear from there westward. You're out of this. So if you're in your safe spot along and west of Missouri Highway O, you're okay. If you live in Houston, or rather Hudson, 52 Highway, all right, 52 Highway corridor, far eastern Bates County, want you to stay in your safe spot. Likewise up towards Mine Street, far eastern portion of Bates County, I want you to go ahead and stay in your safe spot for at least the next 10-15 minutes or so. This goes right up to near Warrensburg, just towards the south of Warrensburg. That's our tornado warning. Goes straight down towards Clinton, over towards nipping Appleton City. This is now east of Butler. I think you folks in Adrian, you're probably okay as well from this. Creighton, you're in it as well. So again, tornado warnings continue. These will go until at least 9, if not 9:30, for this storm out towards Johnson County over on the Missouri side, down towards Henry County as well, central and western portions of Henry County to be in particular. You know, this is the area that was having the rough weather last night. This area also saw the tornado warnings too. So it's been a strange couple of days, right? We've had multiple, 2 days in a row of multiple tornado warnings near and north of 36 Highway up into northern Missouri. And we've had 2 days in a row of tornado warnings in this general area south of US 50, and for the metro, we've really kind of lucked out, and we're thankful for that here in Kansas City. Here's the leading edge, and again, tornado warning, no tornado warning. The possibility of some enhanced winds from this, especially right in through there, is concerning. So we want you folks to be, taking cover. If you live in Urick, take cover, please. If you live near or west of Appleton City, take cover. And then this cell is down towards I-49 into Vernon County. That may be making a run towards Leesville and Deepwater, maybe in the next about hour or so. And I wanted to kind of give you a broad storm track. This is broad, all right, not necessarily for those little circulations that might be embedded with the leading edge, but probably still producing straight line winds, maybe in excess of 60 miles an hour. Blairstown, 8:49. Clinton by 9 o'clock, Warrensburg 9:15, Windsor by 9:24, Lamont by about 9:38, and Sedalia by about 9:51. Again, behind this system, this is just general rain. This is good soaking rains for areas that really want the rain, so that's good. But again, the main concern right now is for these storms that are south and east of Kansas City. For the metro, we're just getting soaking rain. All right, there are some rumbles of thunder, but nothing really all that dramatic happening around here. There was one wind report earlier out towards Independence of 60-mile-an-hour winds that came in about an hour and a half ago, if memory serves. But you can see where most of the action is. So we're done with the tornadic threat here in Kansas City proper. That threat is going to be off towards the east and southeast of Kansas City over the next couple of hours. Jacob.
Yeah, that's just a good reminder, Joe, because, a lot of folks watching here from the Kansas City Metro as we move into this evening worried about the severe weather threat that we had been advertising and forecasting for today. That really has ended now that this main line has moved through. So the real severe weather and tornadic threat that we're seeing is really kind of a line from Warrensburg to Butler and then storms south of us, Nevada down towards Uniontown and Neodosha and Chanute down in the Kansas side. So here's the tornado warning. This is is the line of potential spin-ups. It's really about to cross out of Bates County and now into Henry and southern Johnson County, Missouri. From Garden City to Appleton City is where we kind of have this line. So this tornado warning goes until 9 o'clock, but then the tornado warning off towards the east is the downstream warning, and that goes until 9:15 for Cass, Henry, and Johnson counties. And that includes Clinton, it includes Deepwater, Montrose, Urick. And so this is the areas that we're going to now watch for these potential spin-ups again. So to me, kind of these three areas that we continue to highlight, the strongest of which is approaching Urick right now. So I'm going to start with this. Again, these QLCS, these quick spin-ups on the leading edge of these severe thunderstorm lines are very hard to predict and track. However, this one over the last hour has been pretty consistent here on the north side. It's moved through Amoret, Passaic, and then now up towards the Urick area just south of Creighton. And we've seen some decent rotation with this. So I want to zoom in and query our wind speeds and kind of show the potential rotation that we're seeing in this storm. Again, we are now looking kind of in northeastern Bates County. There is Cass County, and it's moving into Henry County within the next couple of moments. So our wind speeds right now, peak winds going kind of towards the radar, 24 miles per hour, south 20 miles per hour. Again, that's kind of a rough estimate. We might be seeing some winds a little bit stronger than that in the storm system, but that's overall kind of this rotational area that we're seeing. And that's the further north one. Further south, down towards, say, Johnstown, Piper, Germantown, we might be seeing some brief spin-ups there as well. So that's another area to keep an eye on. And then further south, down towards Appleton City, on the tail end of this, there might be some brief rotation as well. So these are kind of the areas we're watching. The National Weather Service giving us an update that this tornado potential still looks very healthy along this line, and that's why the tornado warning is continuing downstream into Henry and Johnson County, Missouri. It looks like we do have a wind damage report coming in from Bates County, so I want to query that and see exactly where that would be located. That looks like it's down in Rich Hill. And down in Rich Hill, southern Bates County, about 45 minutes ago, the sheriff's office reported some power lines down along Rich Hill, a Highway A there. And so that was about 40 minutes ago or so, maybe as the leading edge of this line or a brief spin up might have been trying to pass over Interstate 49. So that's kind of what we would deal with, is some of this damaging winds, whether it's from a tornado or straight line winds. That's the potential with these storms as they're crossing the county line. So one check here on the timing of this into Urick. It's going to be arriving here pretty soon, likely in the next 10 minutes. So again, as Joe mentioned, Creighton, Urick, right here along Highway 7, south of Garden City. Once you get into Henry County, Highway 7 near Urick, go ahead and seek your tornado precautions because we could have a brief spin up at any time. And then also Johnstown, Piper into Clinton. West of Clinton on Highway 18, seek your tornado precautions there as well, as these quick spin up potentials will really peak over the next 15 minutes. Joe?
46 minutes right now past 8 o'clock. We continue our tornado coverage as we've been pretty much on the air almost continuously. We had a little break there for a while since about 1, 2 o'clock or so during the afternoon. It's been a long day, particularly up towards northern Missouri. You folks are done with your severe weather threat. The threat now is down towards the south and east of Kansas City. And again, for those of you just joining us, if you live in the metro area, you have no tornado threat from these cells. These are all going to be south and east of the metro. So that's certainly some good news for Kansas City proper. To go over these warnings again, 9:15 for parts of Cass County, Henry County, and Johnson County. All right, especially central and northern portions of Henry County. Johnson County, we're talking over on the Missouri side, not the Kansas side. All right, that affects close to about 12,000 people. And for Bates and Cass, that includes Adrian, Hudson, and Passaic, although Passaic, you're fine now. Adrian, I think you're okay too. 2,100 people still sort of under the influence of that tornado warning. We also have some severe thunderstorm warnings as well that we need to kind of touch on. And again, this kind of concerns the same area that are being advised about the potential of a quick spin up. Archie, Garden City, Harrisonville, Holden, All right, that's about 17,000 people. And that severe thunderstorm warning has what we refer to as a tornado possible tag on it. That just means that the tornado or the thunderstorm has the ability of creating these little quick spin-ups, particularly during this time of the evening. And then further south of that, this is down towards Bourbon, Crawford, Vernon County. That's really kind of out of our viewing area, affecting Fort Scott again, Nevada again. They had a time last night with all this activity. All right, so the storms again roughly go from Pleasant Hill to Harrisonville to Garden City, down towards Urick. That Urick thing, that bears watching. For the metro, again, we're just getting some general light rain, so it's all pretty good. All right, so here we go. This is down towards Urick once again. I want to go ahead and kind of zoom in for you on this one, and we'll kind of give you a better idea what's going on. That thing near Urick, that looks...
Yeah, I'm Joe. I mean, that's a very classic tornado signature to me, right near Creighton and Urick.
That looks pretty good, or pretty bad, depending on your perspective. Still, you know, maybe I'm going to stop this too. Yeah, maybe right around that, just north of Maysburg area. That would be definitely something that we sort of need to watch, right around that Maysville area. Let me go ahead, or Maysburg rather, area. Let me go ahead and just kind of give you a little track on this. East-northeast, close to 35, 40 miles an hour. So Urick, certainly take cover, no doubt about it. You folks in Urick, I want you to take cover. That's in western Henry County. You folks towards Petersburg, take cover from that. Shawnee Mound, take cover from that. Again, that's out towards Missouri Highway 13 south of Missouri Highway 7, I believe. This general area right in through here, and you could tell the radar scan just updated. So it's very close to Urick right now. Let me clear that out so you can see that new scan as it's popped in. Yeah, right in through there. That's the area that we'll need to watch. Creighton to Urick and points off towards the north and east. And then that little area down towards Missouri 18 around Piper. You folks in Piper, you're cleared out of this. Ballard, you're clear too. Maysburg, you're now past it. All right. Creighton, you're sort of past it. Give it about another 5 minutes or so, and you could get out of your safe spot in Creighton. You folks in Hartwell, go ahead and make sure you're taking cover from this as well, just in case some weird things happen right along this leading edge. And again, it's very complicated in the middle of the evening. Don't see things all that well. There's a bunch of rain going on down here as well that you could see anything, but as I've kind of reiterated a couple of times, damage is damage. 60 to 80 mile an hour winds are always possible with this type of situation, if not maybe something a little bit more significant, depending on how these thunderstorms behave as they move through Henry County. So again, here's Highway 7, all right, Creighton down to Hartwell. All right, you kind of see right in through here. That's one of the areas that we're watching. Likewise, that area down towards Piper. Jacob.
Yeah, and Joe, that velocity mode that you're looking at, I'm kind of looking at the reflectivity mode of this, and it's also revealing and showing those two rotation areas where we could see a brief spin up really at any time here. And that one, we see where these notches are. That's where the winds are rotating and kind of inflowing and causing some circulation. We're getting the moist air out in front of it, wrapping into this line, and that's where we get these quick spin ups. So one of them along Highway 18 just now past Piper. And so this is moving pretty quickly towards the Clinton area. So Clinton, Livingston, Garland, really kind of from Clinton north and off towards the west. You're in the tornado warning, and it's time to seek your tornado safe place right now. That's an interior room, the lowest level of your home around Clinton and here in Henry County. Ideally a basement, but a interior closet or bathroom also does a great job. Ideally no windows or doors to the outside to protect you from any flying debris that these quick spin-ups may cause. So this southern edge or notch that is a brief spin-up potential near Piper is coming along Highway 18 nearing Clinton and Livingston, likely here within, say, the next 10 minutes or so. A track there puts it at 9:03 in Livingston, so just now 10 minutes, barely over 10 minutes in downtown Clinton, Missouri. Then there's the northern storm that Joe is keeping an eye on. That has now just passed over Missouri 7, and that's moving up towards, say, Shawnee Mound and Petersburg. So that's another area where you need to seek your tornado precautions now, as we could have a quick spin up here just south of Blairstown. Petersburg at 9:03, Shawnee Mound a little closer to 9:10 there. north of Clinton along 13 Highway. So these are the two rotational areas that I'm watching, and we're certainly seeing them here on our reflectivity mode. These are the notches we look for in these QLCS or quick spin up setups here as this moves into this evening. Now, our rotation tracker also kind of highlighting those two zones, one near Uric and one further off towards the south along Highway 18, both moving towards the east. And it looks like that we are getting some updates that there was maybe a power flash near Montrose, Joe. So
yeah,
that is the southern rotation, which is where we've been tracking that potential for a spin up. So maybe some power flashes or quick touchdowns as we've been expecting.
Yeah, so they've cleared out the Bates County situation. So you folks in Bates County, you're fine. You're just getting some rain. And for those of you new to Kansas City, or new to the region, I should say, just a couple of safety tips for you. Basement, storm cellar best, but a lot of folks don't have storm cellars. Some of you, hopefully many of you, have a basement. Still the best place to go. If not, some sort of interior room, a bathroom, closet, that's fine. Anything where the four walls are pretty boxed in, pretty small space, lowest level of your home. If you have an apartment, somewhere downstairs, preferably, if not a bathroom in your apartment complex or in your apartment per se. The mobile home situation is not a good one. And while these little spin-ups typically are not very large, they can produce damage, and mobile homes, unfortunately, with strong winds, tend to be very mobile, and that's not a good thing. So just again, with mobile homes, if you're in that tornado warning, if your mobile home community does have one of those safe rooms, community rooms that's a little bit more sturdily built, I want you to go ahead and head there while you can. The worst thing, you know, if you're stuck outside, lying low in a ditch is not terrible, but it's not great either. So again, tornado warnings in effect south and east of Kansas City, does not include the metro. The metro has no tornadic threat for the remainder of tonight. Cities included in these warnings include Clinton, Deepwater, Montrose. Again, we got a report a few minutes ago of some power flashes, I believe, just towards the north of Montrose. So that's probably a pretty good indicator that we had a tornado on the ground there. Uric, all right, as well as I think the Bates County storm, the Bates part of this tornado warning is done. So that's good news. Cass part of the storm, or the Cass County part, far southeastern Cass County, still under it. Also, numerous severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect as well. That would include Archie, Garden City, Harrisonville, and Holden. All right, so you folks in the Archie, Garden City, Harrisonville, Holden area, you are still under a severe thunderstorm warning, and we're keeping an eye for a possible upgrade to that warning. And again, now that we're starting to get this pink outline for you, that just is a confirmation that we've got a tornado on the ground associated with this cell, and my bet is it's with that little area of rotation. Again, for Kansas City proper, we're fine. All right, we're just getting the rain. But again, this would be probably connected to this and maybe to that, just towards the north and west of the Clinton area. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in.
Yeah, Joe, it's that Highway 18 is the confirmed tornado moving right into Clinton and Livingston.
Okay, so that would be right down through here.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of get your bearings. And what's sort of interesting about this is, notice you're not necessarily getting a ton of lightning out of that, but I assume it's probably because of that little feature, perhaps right there just towards the west of Highway 7. Here's Clinton. All right, so it looks like at least that part of the cell is going to pass north and west of Clinton. All right, you're still technically in that tornado warning, but if you live in the Garland area, I want you to go ahead and take cover from that storm. If you live anywhere along Highway 7 from Hartville to 601st Street to Livingston, all right, if you're in that little corridor, Hartwell to Livingston, make sure you're taking cover. That includes Garland too. That's up along Missouri Highway O, I believe. Again, concerning that little area of rotation right in through there. And I want to go ahead and kind of go further up the line because I was watching this little area near Blairstown as well. I want to see what that looks like on our velocity product. And you know, there's something still going on around the Blairstown area as well. All right, so that would be near Highway N, all right, just towards the west of Highway O. Seems like we're bringing up Highway O quite a bit. Here's Missouri 2 as well. You can see it up there. That general area too bears watching as it heads up into the southern portions, if you will, of, I believe that would be Johnson County over on the Missouri side. So Couple little areas of rotation that definitely bear watching. Haven't had reports of damage, although we've seen power flashes just towards the north of Montrose. That was about 10 minutes ago. So there might be some damage, at least to some power lines and stuff down there. Jacob.
Yeah, so again, Joe, this is kind of the area where we saw those power flashes, is where the National Weather Service is saying that's probably a confirmed tornado now here in Henry County. And that's just north of 18 Highway, about to cross 7 Highway now. So this is going to pass just north of downtown Clinton. So Garland, Livingston here within the next 2 to 5 minutes. Hopefully you're in your tornado safe place, because I gave you that heads up about 10 minutes ago. That is where we're going to have this brief spin up potential cross Highway 7 and then eventually towards 13 Highway just on the north side of Clinton. So Henry County is kind of the zone we're watching for these spin ups. The National Weather Service saying the power flashes and funnel that was possibly reaching the ground is that confirmed tornado in central Henry County. Further north, as Joe is keeping an eye on, is the also rotation up towards the Blairstown area. So it's these 2 notches that we're keeping a close eye on for potential tornado. Again, the northern one possibly heading towards Chillouee here within the next 10 minutes. Your ETA there for Chillouee is going to be at 9:06, so that is not long, 5 minutes or less to reach your safe place. And then we also have this rotation that is about to move through Livingston, Missouri, which is essentially the north side of Clinton. And that's going to arrive there in about 3 minutes. So this is the tornado warning that we are tracking for you. It includes southern Johnson County, Missouri as well, Chillouee in this. Warrensburg technically not, although I want to give an early heads up for this line because it's had this potential to produce tornadoes now for nearing an hour. And so as we push this downstream, I just want to kind of give you a heads up about where this may be heading, eventually over towards Sedalia by 10 o'clock. Joe, got an update?
Yeah, I got an update. We're going to start our 9 o'clock news officially here in about 10 seconds or so. Tornado warnings continue for areas south and east of Kansas City. This does not affect the metro. All we're going to get is rain here in the metro. Fox 4 News at 9 starts now. All right, Fox 4 News at 9 has started. Thought we were going to have a fancy open or something like that. For those of you just joining us, again, tornado warnings continue in effect for areas south and east of Kansas City. For the metro, we're just getting some needed rains. It's coming down pretty good out there, so please be alert to the potential of some flooding, especially south and east of Kansas City with these tornado warnings that are also producing heavy rains with these thunderstorms that are sort of training over the same areas. And despite the fact that we've got all these thunderstorms down there, we're still getting lightning way off on the backside.
Thank you.
And while I haven't had any reports of some of those stronger winds like what we saw yesterday and the day before, remember that on the north side of town, I wouldn't be shocked if maybe we're getting some wind gusts on the backside of all this, not necessarily connected to all the rain. Again, the main concern right now is for you folks down towards southern and southwestern portions of Johnson County on the Missouri side, and also for much of central and western Henry County. That would include Clinton up to near Warrensburg. That's the main area of concern right now. From the metro, again, just rain. We'll take the rain, that's for sure. But for this area down here from south of Warrensburg all the way down towards Deepwater, right along this leading edge, I want to go ahead and put a broad storm track on this for you, and then we'll have Jacob go ahead and kind of give us a more specific look at what the circulations might be doing. This is heading off towards the northeast, and it's actually starting to speed up. I noticed in the latest advisory, the speed of this has now started to accelerate to 45 to 50 miles an hour. So it might come in a little bit quicker for the Clinton area, let's say in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Camdenton down there, Warsaw by about 9:31, Windsor by about 9:31 as well. So that's the broader view of things. I want to go ahead and now send it over to Jacob. He's going to have a couple of more specific items that he wants to show you in terms of where these little mini circulations could be. Jacob.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. So we're watching closely. Again, these are really hard to pinpoint. These are QLCS or spin-up tornadoes on this leading edge of severe thunderstorms, and they have produced a tornado. We've had power flashes in a funnel seen right there along 18 Highway coming in to Clinton on the west west side, and our rotation tracker showing kind of those zones. We have a northern zone near Blairstown heading towards Chilhowie here within the next 5 minutes or less, and then also moving towards Livingston just on the north side of Clinton. Again, hopefully everyone in Chilhowie to Clinton along 13 Highway is in your tornado safe place. This is likely producing quick spin-ups or touchdowns and possible some damage with it as well. We haven't gotten any damage reports, but it's something that we're keeping an eye on closely, and our great emergency management partners down there as well are keeping their eyes out as well, and will let us know if and when they see any damage. I'm going to start with this northern zone of rotation here, and these greens are heading towards the north, and the reds are heading to the south away from our Doppler radar, which is located in Pleasant Hill down at our National Weather Service office here in Kansas City. So the rotation is right over Blairstown right now. This is relatively broad rotation, but still the potential for a spin-up tornado. I'm seeing about, say, 55 to 60 mile per hour rotation, and that's about to cross. It's crossing Highway N right now and about to cross 2 Highway there through Chilhowie, which is in southern Johnson County, Missouri, by the way. So this is about to cross the county line into southern Johnson County, just south of Warrensburg. Warrensburg technically not in this warning. And so this rotation is tracking up towards the north and east at about 40 miles per hour. That would take it, say, towards Leeton at 9:20, Burtville by 9:30, and areas crossing 13 Highway probably in the next, say, 10 to 15 minutes. Further south, we also still have the area of rotation. This is the area that we saw that had the power flashes in the confirmed rotation further south, and that is passing right over Livingston currently. So Clinton, Livingston, Garland in your safe place right now. The rotation here, the spin-up potential is just now, there it is just passed through Livingston as we got a radar update here. And that would be right here. It's about to cross 13 Highway. And when I estimate these wind speeds here, I'm getting stronger winds than our previous one up north. This is 40 and 20 miles per hour. So that gives us about 60 mile per hour rotation about to cross 13 Highway just north of Clinton. So neighborhoods on the north side of Clinton, Livingston, again, stay in your safe place. We're not quite out of the woods yet, as this is going to cross 13 Highway, say, in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So those are our 2 zones of possible rotation. We're going to have to watch this downstream, though, where this is headed, because this tornado warning goes until 9:15. By the way, there's a good notch there still on our rain mode, our reflectivity mode. That indicates to me that we are still seeing the potential for a spin up, if not on the ground here, as it tracks towards 13 Highway. I'm going to see if I can zoom in and get any more road names along this, and there's not a lot here between 7 Highway and Highway O and 13 Highway. So hopefully this is not on the ground, but it's going to cross 13 Highway right now. So if you know anyone, don't drive north of Clinton here for the next, say, 20 minutes as this storm is moving away. But we're almost at the edge of this tornado warning. And so we're going to have to see what the National Weather Service does if they're going to issue this downstream. This tornado watch in orange goes until midnight. But notice all of our metro counties, except for Cass, has been dropped from the watch. And so these storms are moving east away from the Kansas City metro. We're not expecting a tornado threat here in Kansas City overnight through at least sunrise. So that's good improvement, but still we're watching this storm. And Joe, it's been going over an hour now.
Yeah, so if memory serves right, that tornado warning goes until 9:30, right?
Oh, is this new one until 9:30?
No, I think
9:15.
Yeah, okay, 9:15.
Yes.
All right, so it's coming right to the edge of that warning.
Yeah.
You want to do me a favor and query the National Weather Service and see if they're thinking about doing a
Yes.
downstream warning on this one. Again, here's Clinton. Right now it looks like, and to be honest with you, Jacob, would you agree in the last 15 minutes we're not seeing quite as much in terms of velocities that are as concerning?
Yeah,
in the
it's
last
more
10, 15
yeah,
minutes
the
or so?
reflectivity still seeing
Yeah.
some notches, so it's kind of a weird.
Yeah, kind of a weird thing. And again, whether it's straight line winds, tornadic winds, 60 to 80 mile an hour winds are winds. These type of tornadoes, and we may experience this here in Kansas City at some point over the summer, these little quick spin-ups, typically don't last for all that long. All right, so that's always one of the factors that we kind of take into account. So here's Clinton, Henry County, Missouri Highway 13. maybe a little something there, maybe. We're still watching this stuff out towards the Blairstown area in terms of, the changing wind directions. But for you folks towards Calhoun, Windsor, Brandon by about 9:36, Bryson by about 9:34 or so. Just, bear with this storm, kind of keep an eye on it as it moves up into the southern portion of Pettis County. All right, again, right in through here. That's one of the areas of concern that we're watching. Maybe a very broad circulation out towards Ladue, just towards the south and west of Clinton. Pretty much everything is moving off towards the east-northeast, give or take around 45, close to 50 miles an hour or so. So, from that standpoint, things are definitely moving along a little bit quicker compared to where we were just a couple of hours ago when they were moving at around 30 miles an hour or so. Also a reminder that we have our tornado watch that's still in effect. Jackson County's been dropped from that watch. All right, you're still in it in Lafayette County. You're still in it in Cass County, but you'll probably get dropped here pretty soon as well. And you're still in it over towards Saline County, Carroll County, that general area off towards the east of Kansas City. Something to pay attention to, south and east of Chanute. Got a tornado warning down there, not our viewing area, but again, it's just a reminder that, that general swath will need to be watched, and that would include Sedalia, maybe Clinton later on tonight. We'll be watching this all night long. Numerous severe thunderstorm warnings also in effect all the way down through Bourbon County and stuff. But again, you could kind of look at the map and get an idea. Here's Kansas City. There are your warnings. We're just getting some good rains right now around the Kansas City metropolitan area, but no severe weather really. We had a 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. We had some small little hail around parts of Johnson County, if memory serves, into Jackson County, but nothing damaging from a hail standpoint, or I believe I haven't seen anything damaging from a wind standpoint as well. Tornado watch is off to our east. These go until about midnight or so, and we continue. All right, there's St. Clair County now getting into the action. There continues to be this tornado warning for Henry County and south central portions of Johnson County over on the Missouri side for about another 10 more minutes or so. Wonder, Jacob, if you could help me with that, I believe, severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, so
for St. Clair County.
It looks like, and I was asking the National Weather Service, they kind of just issued the new downstream severe thunderstorm warning here. Okay. So this is for Bates, Cass, Henry, and Johnson. Well, and there's another one further downstream that now includes parts of Pettis County. And so this is the new severe thunderstorm warning that is a tornado possible tag on it, and that goes until 9:45. So this includes Clinton, Knob, Noster, Warrensburg, Windsor, and this is radar indicated about 50,000 households in this zone. And the National Weather Service saying that they are keeping the severe with the TOR possible, so we could see some brief spin-ups, but leaning off for not issuing a tornado warning right now downstream. Because of the radar signatures, Joe, as you and I were mentioning, the velocity is looking a little more muddled and disorganized now. So this is a good trend, but we're going to have to watch it closely because I'm still seeing some of these notches on the leading edge. So this storm is about to exit the tornado warning, which goes until 9:15, and it's pushing off towards the east. So I do want to put a storm track on this because this almost to me is now looking like a bowing outline of damaging winds, Joe. It looks like this is going to cause some damaging winds in Calhoun, Windsor in the next, say, 20 minutes, 9:20 to 9:30, and reaching Sedalia just before 10 o'clock, Cole Camp maybe just after 10. So I think this is now becoming a more classic radar signature for damaging wind event where we could see maybe quick embedded circulations. But I think here at the leading edge, right along 13 Highway between, say, Clinton and Warrensburg, we could be getting 60 to 70 mile per hour winds with this, Joe. I think as it's moving off towards the northeast.
Yeah, keep it in mind. Let me quickly look at something real quick because I saw, I believe, a brand new tornado.
And it looks like, yeah, so
yeah,
there
for
we go.
Pettis and Johnson.
Yeah, so it looks like they have decided to go downstream. I think those notches that we were eyeing.
Yeah.
So there's the new tornado warning. Clinton, Henry, and Johnson County downstream. Well, it includes Pettis as well downstream. So that's going to go here until, what is that, 9:45, Joe?
Yeah, for very small hail, radar indicated possible tornado. That would be for northeastern portions of Henry County, southwestern Pettis County and the southeastern portion, Johnson County, over on the Missouri side, up until about 9:45 or so. If nothing else, we're seeing some pretty good indications of strong straight line winds, tornado, no tornado. Be alert to the stronger winds that are moving into this area. So again, here's that new warning that we were just telling you about. It does not include the northwestern tip of Benton County. So you folks in Cole Camp, technically not in that warning right now. But if you live south and east of Warrensburg, right into the southeastern portion, Johnson County, Missouri side, Johnson County on the Kansas side, just getting rain. All right, but here's that new tornado warning. And this tornado warning that you see here, that's going to get cleared out of our system in the next couple of minutes. But this area, northeastern portions of Henry County, southwestern portions of Pettis County, that general area down there, boy, I tell you what, it seems like they get tornado warnings all the time down there. It's something that I've talked to folks about, that it just seems like Pettis County down towards that Green Ridge area. You folks are in this as well. There's your Green Ridge area. It seems like that general area definitely has an issue with getting this type of, tornado type setup where you could get these quick little spin-ups. Again, the leading edge, we don't have any reports of anything on the ground at this point, but the leading edge stretches from near Missouri Highway 2 all the way down to near the Clinton area. So you could see as everything moves off towards the northeast, or east-northeast, at around 45 miles an hour. Windsor, Leeton, over to Green Ridge, Sedalia, be prepared. This is a great opportunity for you to quickly think in the back of your mind your safety plan. You're not in that warning right now, but don't be surprised if you do get placed into a warning here in the next about maybe half hour or so. Sirens probably going off down here towards the Green Ridge area. That's along Missouri Highway 52 and points north along 127. That general area in there from Green Ridge, Windsor, Leeton, all the way down to Calhoun. And right along Missouri Highway 13, that's a rough drive right now for any folks going down from Warrensburg down towards Clinton, just because of the potential of some of these stronger winds. And you kind of see in the new update that literally just came in a second ago, right there, that might be a little something to watch. Maybe something right there, a little something to watch as well. But we just, unfortunately, it's one of those things where we can't be as specific. This isn't your traditional supercell thunderstorm with your traditional big hook echoes, sort of like what we were seeing earlier up across northern Missouri, where you had those big old tornadoes up there. This one is a different type of animal. Typically, these little mesovortices are only maybe 50 to 100 yards wide. They're very, on average, very small, but they could still do, enough damage to create some big headaches. So that's why we've got this tornado warning that continues up until, what was it, 9:45, right?
Yes.
If I remember correctly, okay. 9:45, south of Missouri Highway 2, down towards Missouri Highway 13 and 52, that general area, Calhoun, Windsor, Green Ridge. I'll go ahead and put a little storm track on here. I want to see if our velocity product is going to pick up on some of these little areas of concern. Let's see. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, Calhoun.
Yeah, the Calhoun area. It's a concern, that's for sure. Right along and east of Missouri Highway 13, there are still some of these little areas that we have to watch. You kind of see these, as Jacob mentioned, these little eddies. Little eddy maybe right there, maybe something in that general area. Maybe something down towards Deepwater doesn't quite look as favorable there. Maybe something right up through here just southwest of Leeton. And again, everything moving off towards the east-northeast. I think I'm going to do a broader storm track on this one, and I want to just bear with me for 1 second, because with the storms now accelerating at close to 50 miles an hour, I want to speed up our storm track on this, which I've just done. So let's do a broad storm track for Henry County all the way up towards Sedalia. Sedalia, you're not in that tornado warning, but a heads up, by 9:51, some of this activity could be right on your doorstep. So you may, in the next 20 minutes or so, be placed into a tornado warning. Green Ridge, you're in it. Windsor, you're in it. Calhoun, you're in it. Bethlehem, you are not in it, but let's keep an eye out for some of these little cells down towards the south of the Bethlehem area all the way off towards the east of Montrose. The only report of a possible tornado, we definitely got some power outage or some power line flashes, was just towards the north of Montrose. But again, considering it's dark, tough to spot this stuff unless you do see some power outages. That's always tricky. Any one of these little areas in through here could produce a very brief, very quick little spin up. So again, as everything moves off at an accelerated speed now of close to 50 miles an hour, Calhoun 923, Green Ridge 937, Ionia 943, and we'll see about the Sedalia situation as we head towards about 951. Jacob.
Okay, yeah, Joe, thanks for that up-close analysis there of the winds. I did want to just quickly take a wider view now here that we're at 917 and show again the Kansas City Metro. Yes, some steady rain and some rumbles of thunder. Severe weather threat, though, is over tonight for the Kansas City Metro. If you live in Jackson, Johnson, Wyandotte, Leavenworth, Platte and Clay counties, no worries for you. It is this zone from Clinton moving into central Missouri that we're watching the tornado threat, where really this line is kind of in balance for the potential for severe weather. We still have a tornado watch until midnight for these orange zones, Lafayette and out towards Saline County, south towards the lakes, and there's still a lot of warnings back off towards the south there. And so we're going to continue to monitor those storms as they move up towards the north. Here's the one tornado warning that we're watching now, and it's really kind of between Chilhowie and Clinton moving towards Windsor and Green Ridge. If this holds together, Sedalia, you guys will be the next big area in line for this as it moves into Pettis County. So I want to zoom in on this warning. This tornado warning, by the way, going until 9:45. Includes about 15,000 people here, and it's just now past 13 Highway, moving now kind of tracking along 52 Highway through northern Henry into southern Pettis County. And there's several little zones here that we're watching for these quick spin ups, and our velocity trying to identify one of the strongest ones right here near Clinton. Again, on our wind mode, these green winds are coming to the north, red winds are coming to the south. And so this right there is where we would be seeing a tornado, and that would be just north of 52 Highway, about to cross Northeast Highway J as you head north out of Calhoun. So if there's a tornado, that's going to be where it is. It's going to be one of these quick spin-ups that we've been seeing for the last, say, hour or two. Wind estimates keep us, say, in the 50-mile-per-hour rotation range. So it's on the weaker end, but typically these QLCS or spin-up tornadoes are on that weaker end as they move through kind of on this line of leading edge. Look at the rotation tracker over the last 2 hours showing this kind of wall of spin-ups starting along the Interstate 49 corridor back in Bates County. That's when this warning was first issued, or really coming out of Lynn County. And then this wall of rotating spinnies and little eddies has continued across Henry and southern Johnson County, Missouri, and now tracking up towards Pettis County. So these are kind of these zones that we're keeping an eye on. In my mind, though, with the velocity really kind of difficult to pinpoint at this time, the best tool that I'm seeing right now is just our regular reflectivity radar showing the rain, because in these QLCS or these quick spin-up tornadoes, usually we can see just a tiny notch, and it may only be a few pixels, but that is enough to me to indicate that those are the likely spin-up tornadoes, and I'm seeing two of them right now. One of them is just south of Leeton, and I'm going to highlight that. Another one right there along Highway 52 coming right into Calhoun. So these are the two tornadoes, quick spin-up zones that I'm going to keep an eye on here closely. And I'll zoom in here to the top one and we'll look at that one first. This is just south of Leeton along Highway CC and Missouri 2 Highway. And it looks like it might have jogged just north now between Leeton and Sutherland. So the quick spin-up tornado there. And in all honesty, the way this looks, I would not be surprised if that's on the ground just by looking at reflectivity. Usually a separate yellow circle. We can see that total circle separated can usually mean there's a little bit of debris or a funnel that has reached the ground there along Highway EE, barely to the east of Leeton. So that's a spin-up spot that we need to closely keep an eye on, and that is now in southern Johnson County, Missouri. The other one is bearing right into Calhoun. So Calhoun, again, tornado safety spot right now. This possible tornado coming up 52 Highway, the northern zone there. I would not be surprised if that's on the ground. I'm curious if I'm seeing any debris. That's an interesting little spot there along Highway E. I don't think that's debris. It's slightly off, Joe. Just the debris, what could be debris is north of EE. Reflectivity is south of Highway EE. But this is something that I'm watching, especially with that uptick in lightning near Leeton right now. I think, are there some damage reports coming in, Joe? Is that what we're getting?
No, I haven't seen anything with it, but let me analyze that little debris indicator that you were just talking about because yeah, my analysis computer is loading up right now.
Right along EE between Leeton and Sutherland may be a little spot.
Maybe a little spot, so it's worth sort of paying attention to that little area. That would be right on the, unfortunately, that's right on that northern edge of that tornado warning as well. That would be probably passing just south of Whiteman Air Force Base by about 5 or 10 miles or so. But that's certainly something that's sort of interesting to look at because it is co-located to that little area of reflectivity that you were just showing. So you always get concerned when you get that little co-location of things going on down there. I wanted to bring you a little further north up towards the Marshall area, over towards Saline County, over towards Lafayette County, into Johnson County as well on the Missouri side. Just to reiterate that we've got some thunderstorms going on there. For Saline County, I don't think you're going to have to worry about severe weather with this. Likewise in Lafayette County, I don't think you'll have to worry about severe weather. And really most of Johnson County, let's say the northern part of Johnson County especially, you're going to be okay. Western part of Johnson County on the Missouri side, you're okay as well. It's just these little areas, and again, that would be right out of that tornado warning, or actually right there, right through there, that we'll have to kind of keep an eye on. Also, that little area down towards Windsor as well. My colleagues at the National Weather Service so far haven't mentioned anything.
Joe, that really, to me, looks like a debris ball, and it's heading kind of towards Whiteman Air Force Base. So I just wanted to give an early heads up that even though Whiteman may not be in this tornado warning, our friends, colleagues, everyone around Whiteman, go ahead and take those tornado precautions. Because, Joe, this is not contamination. In my mind, I've got it up here on the big board. This here between Leeton and Burtville, to me, looks like the potential. So, well, NWS saying it may not be lining up, but to me, looking kind of behind the scenes at the analysis computer, it's pretty close to that velocity couplet, at least in my mind. They're just to the northeast of Leeton. So that's something we're going to have to watch closely. There's still a notch there, and it is riding this northern boundary. So even if that's not debris, and maybe we are not seeing a tornado on the ground, but if so, let's still take precautions here. Whiteman Air Force Base in Knob Noster, I know you're outside this tornado warning technically, but that's what we do here at Fox 4. We're just analyzing the radar and our expertise. And so along 23 Highway, I think there might be a tornado threat that could extend on the other side of this border. So it's something we need to keep an eye on for our friends down at Whiteman Air Force Base. So this is kind of a northern rotation or eddy just on the border there near Leeton. So that's a zone we need to watch. And then there's still this weak rotation and little notch that is moving into Windsor along 52 Highway, maybe towards Bryson as well in Pettis County. So these kind of two zones continue. Again, these QLCS spin-up tornadoes, very hard to track and pinpoint, and it's easy for them to jump boundaries. They don't know county lines or warning polygons. So we just try to keep our eyes as closely peeled on where there could be these brief spin-ups. Joe, are you seeing anything on your analysis of these two little spots?
Nothing much more than what we've talked about. I'm going to go ahead and stop radar and just kind of put this broad track on this for you, since we haven't done a big track on this for a while. Again, we're keeping an eye on that little area near Leeton in particular, and maybe just towards the north and east of Leeton. Storms moving at now close to 50 miles an hour. So Windsor by about 9:32, Leesville by about 9:34, Lamont by about 9:40, Lincoln by 9:50, Sedalia by 9:53. Now, Sedalia, you are technically not in that tornado warning as of yet, but I want you folks to be prepared to hear the sirens in Pettis County in the Sedalia area in case this tornado warning gets extended further on downstream. You folks in Green Ridge and Windsor certainly are in the path of that whole line, whether or not there's a tornado or not. Strong straight line winds very possible with this. Lamont by about 9:40 or so. Smithton by about 10:02. Otterville by about 10:08, and that would be more for the southern portion of that line. So again, you can kind of see this flashing red box represents our tornado warning, and the main area of concern are for these storms that are eastern portions now, just about getting ready to get out of Henry County over on the Missouri side, and for this particular line, especially south of Whiteman Air Force Base, near and east of Leeton. We'll keep an eye on that area as everything continues to move off towards the east-northeast at close to about 50 miles an hour or so. So, you know, still a lot going on from a weather standpoint for areas south of Kansas City. For the Kansas City area, though, you know, we're doing okay. As a matter of fact, the rain may start to wind down to some extent over the next maybe hour or two, or certainly lighten up. These yellows represent areas of moderate rain from Excelsior Springs to Liberty to KC Mo, into KCK, down towards Overland Park, down 35, into the Olathe and Gardner area. You go down K7, down 169, and down 69 highway through Johnson County. Moderate rain coming into the Lee Summit, Blue Springs area. Some areas have probably already gotten at least an inch. I got a report just a couple of minutes ago from Raintree Lake of 1 inch of rain coming down, a pretty good clip, and there's certainly more rain out there. And we haven't touched on this in this particular long weather cut-in, but there's definitely a concern about some flooding rains, especially for areas south and east of Kansas City during the overnight hours. Things starting to dry up right now to a large extent for areas up towards northeast Kansas and into northwestern Missouri. So that's some good news for an area that's had a lot of weather. There's been a tremendous amount of weather up there over the last couple of days. So again, here's our tornado warning. It involves parts of Pettis County, the northeastern portion of Henry County, getting ready now to move out of Henry County and getting ready to move out of southeastern portions of Johnson County over on the Missouri side once again. And there's still thunder and lightning behind all of this, except the threat of severe weather has kind of hopscotched over Kansas City, and that's fine by us here in the metro. But we'll certainly keep an eye out for these storms from near Marshall, heading into central Missouri, towards Sedalia, into Pettis County, into Benton County, into Henry County, down towards St. Clair County as well. Don't want to forget about you. I quickly want to go down, further on down towards the south, and just kind of get an idea what's going on further south, because we still have these storms that are down across far southeastern Kansas. This is down towards Chanute, and we've got tornado warnings down there. Fredonia was an area that got hit by a tornado yesterday. They've got tornadoes now in the southeast part of that county. Over towards the Chanute area, tornado warnings around Erie. Reason why I'm bringing this up is because these storms are moving off towards the east-northeast, as you could see. So, they continue to do something like that. That may bring Vernon County into play, perhaps St. Clair County into play, assuming these storms don't do anything. But those storms are a couple of hours away from northwestern portions of St. Clair County. Once you get north of this line, though, this is not a big deal aside from the heavy rain, maybe some small hail. So again, this is down towards Bourbon County, down towards northern Vernon County, southern portions of Bates County around Rich Hill. Good thunder, good lightning, good rains going on down there. But we still have these tornado warnings down towards southeastern Kansas, and that's a concern for areas even further south of US 50 all the way down towards 54 Highway heading out towards the lake. So it's going to be a rough night for the folks down towards the Lake of the Ozarks. Back to our tornado warning, which is in effect until about 9:45 or so. We continue to monitor this as it's getting closer and closer now to the Green Ridge area. So for you folks in Green Ridge, you've got, it's about 10 miles, give or take, just towards your west-southwest. So Green Ridge, I want you to make sure you're in your safe spot just to be on the safe side. Again, these are typically not long track tornadoes. And I'm going to check back in here with Jacob in a second to see if there's been any additional updates on whether or not this line is producing anything. But again, it may still be producing some strong straight line winds. Tornado, no tornado, damage, damage. So 60, 70 mile an hour winds still possible, being blown out of these thunderstorms as they move off towards the east-northeast at close to 50 miles an hour. Jacob.
Okay, thanks, Joe. So again, kind of watching our colleagues at the National Weather Service giving us some updates. So this tornado warning with a brief spin up still continuing to move towards Pettis County at about 35 miles per hour. We did get an update from the Clinton, Missouri Fire Department that they have no damage in town. So that's good news. That potential spin up passed just north of there, and we had the power flash and confirmed tornado back in Montrose in western Henry County. So that's good news that there's no major damage in Clinton. I know our Fox 4 reporter Jacob Sloan is in Bates, Henry County, kind of sniffing out to see if there could be any tornado damage there. And if he finds anything or has any updates, we'll bring those to you as soon as we have them here at Fox 4 News at 9 and 10. Right now, I wanted to give an update for the Kansas City Metro again here that our severe weather threat has ended, as I've said multiple times. But for those of you just joining us, still some rain and lightning and thunder around the metro. But generally, our severe weather threat is now mainly off towards the south and the east, and our tornado watch here shows that pretty well. The tornado watch stretches from Chanute to Nevada and then up to Harrisonville and then out to Marshall and Moberly. The Storm Prediction Center has said that they're going to issue a new tornado watch downstream into central Missouri as these storms track towards Columbia and Jefferson City, but that continues to move away from our area, which is a trend locally at least that we want to see. So we still have this tornado warning. It is moving now just over Windsor towards the Green Ridge area, crossing 23 Highway. So this tornado warning goes for about another 12 minutes until 9:45. And we'll see this line remains in balance. And when I say in balance, it means that it's kind of moving perpendicular to the wind shear and the storm motion. So the storm here is moving generally off towards the northeast. So the direction of the storm here is in this direction towards Pettis County. And the line of storms here at least is about perpendicular to that. So that's where we're able to maximize rotation. Notice further south where the line kind of curves to the back and the north where the line curves off towards the front, that would be out of balance because it's kind of parallel to the storm motion, and it's hard to get rotation or spin-ups in that type of mode. So it's this perpendicular zone that we're watching essentially from Knob Noster down to Windsor as it moves towards Pettis County. So we're going to watch the couple of notches here on Fox 4 radar. I'll zoom in and see what we can track. Generally, the last couple of minutes, the reflectivity here, our rain mode on Fox 4 radar, has been the best spot to kind of issue or see some of these areas of issues of rotation. So here's the first one there near Owsley, south of Whiteman Air Force Base, just now crossing 23 Highway, north of Sutherland. And then there's another little notch down, say, near Sutherland and maybe near Windsor as well. So kind of these little three zones moving at about 35 miles per hour per this tornado warning. So a track on this puts it towards Green Ridge here in the next 10 minutes at 9:44, Manila there 9:50, Spring Fork 9:58, Sedalia around 10 o'clock. So if this tornado warning is issued downstream Sedalia, you guys will be next for the potential for these brief spin-ups along the leading edge of this severe thunderstorm line. Our wind mode, trying to monitor for any rotations. I'm seeing maybe hints of that, one of them here near Windsor. And as we estimate our wind speeds here, again, maybe around 50 miles per hour or so. That's about what we've seen on the leading edge of this as it pushes up towards the north and east. These quick spin-ups usually, not always, but usually tend to be a little weaker than these supercells like we saw across Nebraska, say yesterday. These embedded tornado spin-ups usually on the weaker end of the EF or enhanced Fujita scale. Up here in Johnson County, Missouri, right nearing, say, State Highway 23 and WW Highway, just south of Whiteman, nearing Owsley there along the county line into Pettis County. This is where I'm also seeing some potential rotation on our wind mode. And as we query that, I'm seeing, say, maybe 50 to 60 mile per hour rotation. Still some rotating zones here Joe, has the National Weather Service said anything if this is going to go downstream, maybe towards Sedalia?
Well, no, they haven't.
Okay.
They are reporting, you were talking about the balance factor of this particular line, and they're still saying it is in balance, but it's not showing as many of these notches that we kind of look at. There is some concern that they still may have some strong straight line winds, and at this point, there are no plans to continue this tornado warning past 9:45, at least as long as this trend continues. So that's good news for the Sedalia area. So that's, something as a positive to take away from our coverage. For those of you, though, that are still in the path of this line for at least the next about 5 or 6 minutes, again, just a reminder, some of your safety tips. And again, please be careful with these mobile homes. They are not good spots to be during tornado warnings for those areas that are being directly affected by this. So again, our tornado warning continues till 9:45, moving out of Henry County as we speak. Moving through parts of Johnson and into Pettis County. That would include Green Ridge and down towards the Windsor area. Severe thunderstorm warnings, those continue as well for some of these areas too. St. Clair and Vernon counties, all right, northwestern portions of St. Clair County. That includes Appleton City. I feel like we've mentioned Appleton City about 25 times over the last couple of days. Lowry City as well. And then a little bit closer to home, Clinton, Knob Noster, Warrensburg, Windsor under a severe thunderstorm warning. And we're still watching that leading edge for any potential little quick spin up. So this is where the weather action is. Again, for Kansas City, we're fine. We're just getting that rain that is actually showing some signs maybe of abating just a little bit. Although we still have some thunderstorms going on down towards Ottawa into Franklin County, down towards Anderson, into the Garnett area, down towards Anderson County as well. And that's just good soaking rain, Cameron, Chillicothe, Excelsior Springs over towards Carrollton. So this would be the area, and it's going to probably be essentially out of our viewing area probably within about the next hour and a half to 2 hours, because everything's moving along at close to 50 miles an hour. But we still have that storm down towards the southwestern portion of Pettis County. That certainly bears watching. Looks like a lot of it is now coming out of Henry County. We'll keep an eye on what's going on right down there towards the south and east of Clinton. For the metro, again, just some good rains for Kansas City. All very much welcome, considering how dry it's been, especially for areas south of Kansas City. We've been really dry on the south side. So this system is definitely coming through, and it's going to get that grass growing pretty darn good here over the next couple of days. Again, this is the line that we're watching. It's essentially now right on the county line. Johnson County, Missouri, Pettis County on the Missouri side, leading edge right there. Leading edge right along the Benton County, Henry County line, all right, near the Windsor area. But again, as my colleagues at the Weather Service mentioned a little while ago, they're not necessarily seeing quite the dynamic circulations that we were trying to pick out just a little while ago. And the hope is that this tornado warning will expire in just about 4.5 minutes or so, give or take. But it's certainly something that we'll continue to watch. And we'll certainly watch these cells down towards the Chanute area. They're producing tornadoes as we speak. We've got confirmed tornadoes down towards the south of Chanute. My hope is that activity stays out of our immediate area, although I want you folks in St. Clair County to just be aware of this, all right? Be aware of what's going on down towards Chanute as it moves off towards your east-northeast, especially for the northern half of St. Clair County. Tornado watches have been essentially dropped. Let's drop Cass County, you're done. We could probably drop Bates County, I think you're done too. So essentially, the metro is out of the tornadic situation. We're just gonna get more light rain, and I think Lafayette County, we could probably clear you as well. But there's still some pretty good storms down there. This is the other thing that I wanted to touch on, the heavy rain. So between later on this evening, next couple of hours towards midnight, and through early tomorrow, or actually early on Monday morning, we could still see 2 to 4 inch rainfall totals from Sedalia to Warrensburg to Harrisonville. So be alert to the flooding rains. A lot of this will come tonight, but there still may be And Jacob will kind of dive into this a little bit more when we get into the main newscast coming up here shortly, and we get into a more traditional weather forecast as far as the rest of the weekend goes. But there may be some more showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon around the area. Right now, I don't think we're setting up for severe weather here in Kansas City proper. Perhaps a little bit of a better chance of that happening off towards the east of Kansas City for tomorrow afternoon into early tomorrow evening. But by the same token, I wouldn't be shocked later on tomorrow if maybe we get just a couple of little cells that can produce some small hail or something along those lines. So that's for tomorrow. And again, Jacob will touch on that a little bit more for you coming up tonight during our more traditional newscast, which is going to hopefully start here pretty soon. Jacob.
Yeah, hopefully we can get there, Joe. We still have this tornado warning till 9:45 for Green Ridge and Windsor. This is now mainly moving into Pettis County along 127 highway in western Pettis. So this goes till 9:45. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued downstream for most of Pettis County. That includes damaging winds and the potential for maybe an embedded tornado. That again going until the new severe thunderstorm warning downstream here for Pettis County goes until 9:45 as well. Okay, well, I assume after 9:45 we'll probably get some type of new warning that is downstream as we continue to watch this, because I'm watching our rotation here, still seeing, say, two little eddies or notches, one right over Windsor and one approaching Green Ridge between 23 Highway and 127 Highway right on the county line. So I'm going to kind of zoom in here. There's Sedalia, by the way. Again, even if this tornado warning doesn't extend into Sedalia, your area is still going to see the damaging wind potential with this 50 to 70 miles per hour. That can still cause some damage. So a closer look here as we keep Sedalia in the top right corner for us. I'm going to watch this zone here approaching Green Ridge, and then also this zone just to the east of Windsor. Both of these are moving off towards the east at, say, about 40 miles per hour. So I'll put a storm track on this, moving up in that direction, and that puts us towards Sedalia around 10:04, beam in there at 10:13, and Manila here just before 9:55. So this is kind of the general direction. Those are the two little notches that I'm keeping an eye on. And as we look at our reflectivity or rain product, that's where we're still able to see some notches. And it looks like that tornado warning has been expired, Joe. What interesting to me, though, is there still seems to be this little notch near Owsley that might be heading in the general direction of Sedalia. So I don't want to let our guard down here with this. We'll see, you know, it's going to be nearing 127 highway soon. So Sedalia still about 15 minutes or so. But that's still a notch, and that's kind of what we've been watching for and seeing with these potential brief spin-ups on this leading edge. So that notch still kind of has my concerns or awareness at least heightened for that potential spin-up, although it looks like now here that official tornado warning has dropped a little bit. So we're going to continue to watch this storm as it moves into Pettis County, but generally it looks like the tornado warning has now expired. Still a severe thunderstorm warning with the potential for brief spin-ups through Pettis County as we put a forecast track on this for you. This is going off towards the east at about 40 miles per hour. So the strongest of the storm going to reach Sedalia around 10 o'clock in about 15 minutes. So we're still watching the severe weather threat, although right now it does not look like we have any active tornado warnings. The wider view showing just some severe thunderstorm warnings off towards the south and east. So now that that has happened, I think we're going to start Fox 4 News here at 9 o'clock delayed. And so I'll send it over to Shannon to get us started.
Sounds good, Jacob. And of
From
course,
the station that's working for you, you're watching Fox 4 News at 9.
we rolled the open that time for you. We're taking a live look now outside, and of course we are starting things off with the weather. It is the third day of severe weather for us. Severe weather outbreak. It's been slowly moving through the central U.S. Olathe firefighters, I think we have some video we want to take a look at. Here it is. Olathe firefighters shot this video of a house fire on South Downing Street tonight. They're investigating whether lightning struck the house. The fire, we're told, appeared to have started in the attic. Welcome to Fox 4 News at 9. late night edition. Because of the weather, I'm Shannon Russo. We mentioned we are weather aware this week, and as a severe thunderstorm outbreak is continuing, here's Fox 4 meteorologist Jacob Lanier, who's been busy all day covering this now for several hours. Jacob, what's the latest?
Yeah, Shannon. So we kind of started here, if we can go to max 2 as well, by the way, here. We started our coverage around 2 o'clock this afternoon, and we've been covering essentially almost nonstop here through the afternoon and evening for you on Fox 4. I was here with meteorologist Alex County when our first warnings were issued in northern Missouri. This evening, our threats have now shifted south of the metro, and really, once again, our metro counties at least avoided the worst of the severe weather. So that's another good result here. Still some severe thunderstorm warnings right now off towards the south. We do have a tornado watch still in place from Odessa and Marshall south towards Sedalia, Clinton, Cole Camp, and Osceola on the Missouri side. This tornado watch goes until midnight, so we're still going to keep an eye on these storms. A lot of lightning and the damaging wind potential still existing as this now exits Johnson, Missouri, and Henry counties and is now moving towards 65 Highway Benton and Pettis, now under that severe weather threat, and severe line of damaging winds as our most likely concern here. So I'm going to put a forecast track on this line of storms. It's moving off towards the east at about 40 miles per hour. And when we get some of these ETAs for you, in Sedalia just around 10:05, Cole Camp around 10:15, Stover by 10:30, and then pushing over towards Jefferson City as we approach 11:30 or so. So we'll continue to monitor this line of thunderstorms. We do still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Pettis and Benton County. That severe thunderstorm warning here is going to go in effect until 10:30. So for the next 15 minutes here for the damaging wind potential, Benton, Hickory County included there, and then up into Pettis County. We've got our wind severe thunderstorm warning until 10:45. So that's where the severe thunderstorm warning is currently. I am still watching the potential for maybe a brief spin up here along these leading edges of lines near Green Ridge heading towards Sedalia. That's a zone that I'm still a little curious about as it moves over towards Sedalia. So Sedalia, maybe just again continue to stay inside until this severe thunderstorm passes through. And it looks like that a new tornado warning is now coming soon for Sedalia as well. That's kind of the concern I've been eyeing for the last couple of minutes. So we'll continue to stay on this storm now as it approaches Sedalia, and we await an official tornado warning, but I think that that's what we're going to be seeing here in the next minute or two. A look at our wind product here and velocity on Fox 4 radar, showing that our winds right here approaching say the Highway 157 or 127 corridor, just north of Green Ridge, and that is heading up towards Sedalia here over the next, say, 10 to 15 minutes. So Sedalia, let's go ahead and assume that this is a potential tornado, and here's the new tornado warning that I have for you. For Pettis County, this goes until 10:15 and includes Dresden, Knob Noster, Lamont, Sedalia. Includes about 27,000 households here across Pettis County. Downtown Sedalia, you guys are kind of right in the center of this line where we could see a potential spin-up tornado anytime within the next 10 to 20 minutes. So in Sedalia, surrounding neighborhoods, let's go ahead and enact that tornado safety plan. That includes heading to an interior room, the lowest level of your home, a basement if you have one. If not, an interior closet or bathroom will do a great job with that. And if you live in a mobile home neighborhood, a tornado shelter, a community tornado shelter is the best place to go. You still have the time there to go do that in the next 5 minutes in Sedalia. So it looks like we had a surge in this line that has really increased our wind shear, which is why we have this new tornado warning for Pettis County. This is the notch that I've been concerned about as it's approaching Sedalia. There it is right there. It is crossing Highway 127 as we speak, just north of Green Ridge, and it's going to come into Sedalia on Highway Y. It might go just on the north side of town towards Dresden and Georgetown. So this is kind of the little eddy or notch that I'm watching the closest. Meteorologist Joe Lauria, of course, also in here tracking the storms with me tonight. Joe, do we have any updates from the National Weather Service on this?
No, you mentioned that how it just kind of spun up very quickly, and you know that's a characteristic of these types of mesovortices. They're small, they're compact. Typically, they're usually no bigger than 100 yards across, but they could still pack a little bit of a punch. And as Jacob just highlighted for you, that little area up towards the north of Green Ridge is the concern. So again, a tornado warning is in effect now for Pettis County, and this will also include the extreme southeast part, I believe, of Johnson County, Knob Noster, Lamont, Sedalia, all in the path of that, and that's, you know, roughly 27,000 of our viewers down there. You kind of see it looks like Knob Noster is kind of okay with this.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're west of 23, all right, you're fine. South of 50, west of 23, you're fine. Even up on the north side of 50, west of 23 highway, you're okay. So it's just this general area right in through there, and the main concern right now is that little area just towards the north of Green Ridge. We'll keep an eye also out towards Lamont around 127. But this little area here is heading up towards maybe the north and northwest side of Sedalia. So if you live roughly between Lamont, east of Lamont, to Sedalia, I want you to go ahead and take cover, especially if you're, you know, either side of that 50 highway corridor. All right, if you live up towards the Hughesville area, I think you're going to be okay, but let's kind of pay attention. I don't think it's really all that harmful for you to get into a safe spot just to be on the safe side, because as we just saw literally 10-ish minutes ago, the thought process was, all right, we haven't seen anything for a while. We're going to go ahead and drop that tornado warning. And then 5, 6, 7 minutes later, oh gosh, we're getting another indication of a little rotation, so we better get another tornado warning out. So again, that's right for this little area just towards the north of Green Ridge. I want to give you a little bit more of a precise location of this. And again, you know, just make sure you're taking cover, especially north of Green Ridge. This would be right along Highway Y near the Dresden area. If you live in Dresden, I'd take cover from this as well. Here's Highway B heading down towards 127. So we're about 5 minutes away from clearing areas west of Highway 127, Missouri 127. About 5 minutes away. If you've been in your shelter, you could go ahead and come out. Give that about another 5 minutes or so. Let's bring you right to 10 o'clock. And you folks west of Highway 127, you're going to be okay, and you could get back out of your shelter. For those of you in the Sedalia area, I want you to go ahead. You're probably hearing the sirens right now. Go ahead, take cover from this storm. Again, it's still located a little bit off towards your west, so somewhat off towards the west of Sedalia, but it's, you know, still a thing that we need to watch. So let's stop this very quickly and give you a better idea. There's Sedalia. So that general area right in through there, that's what we need to watch for the path of whatever may or may not be on the ground. We'll put velocity on here, see if we could find just a little something, something, and there's definitely a little something, something there. Yeah, that's a thing. So let me broaden out this view just a little bit. We'll get a storm track on this for you because there will definitely be some storms affected by this. I'll put a very narrow track on it for, you know, the next about half hour to 45 minutes or so, certainly through about 10:15, 10:30. Sedalia, 10:08, that's your time frame. Again, I'm hoping this passes north and west of Sedalia, but it's going to be a very close call. And even if there is a tornado on the ground right now, it may not maintain itself. It's usually very difficult for these type of things to maintain themselves for more than 5 minutes, and that could be a push. But it's certainly something that we need to watch. Georgetown, I want you in your safe spot. Sedalia, in your safe spot. You folks over towards Beeman, just be prepared to get into your safe spot. You're in that warning. You're right on the edge, but you still have a little time, about maybe 20, 25 minutes, so that you could kind of keep an eye on that storm. Green Ridge, I think you're going to be okay with this, but it's right, that little couplet right in through there, that's right along Highway 127, moving off towards the east-northeast. So Dresden to Sedalia, that corridor of US 50, if you know anybody around that corridor, send them a little text right now. Make sure they're paying attention to the weather. It's Saturday night. It's been a long Saturday night. So some of you, especially in Pettis County, may not be paying that much attention to the weather, especially with a lack of thunderstorm activity. So just pay attention now as this little rotational area continues to move off towards the east-northeast. In the last few minutes, I haven't heard about any actual tornado touchdowns, but I want to check in with Jacob to see if he's got any additional information. Jacob.
Yeah, you know, Joe, really that velocity, I think, says enough that there's still that tornadic potential, even though we don't have a tornado reported. And, you know, now that we're after sunset by a couple of hours, there's not a lot of spotters or storm chasers in this area. A lot of them are back in Oklahoma tonight. They're having their own severe weather situation. So our eyes and ears on this, not ideal. And so we're using Fox 4 radar to closely track these notches for you. Again, very difficult to pinpoint forecast these because they spin up and then spin back down. And that's why they can be some of the most dangerous tornadoes, even though they can trend a little bit weaker, just because they're a little more unexpected and a little more hit and miss, if you will. So that we still have this tornado warning until 10:15 for Sedalia and a good chunk here of Pettis County. And the storm is approaching 65 highway from the west here. And so I'm going to zoom in and look at the notch here that's coming into town. It's coming in along Highway Y here. And it's just the Missouri State Fairgrounds too, not too far from there. Say I was going to measure from Sedalia. We're about 5 miles due west of the fairgrounds there. It's crossing Highway Y if there is a tornado. Sedalia Country Club also out this way, about to reach 50 Highway 2 coming in from Dresden. So Sedalia, again, we've been mentioning this for you, tornado warning in effect. So the town of Sedalia, neighborhoods nearby, let's go ahead and get in your tornado safe place now until this storm passes, just because we could see a spin up tornado at this notch here that is moving into Sedalia there in central Pettis County. So that means an interior room away from windows and doors that lead to outside. And the ideal spot is the lowest level of your home, as many walls between you and outside as possible. A basement, a closet inside, a bathroom is all great options if you can. A mobile home community also has those tornado shelters ideally. Hopefully you're already there if you live in one of those neighborhoods. So here's the line of severe thunderstorms, a little notch, it's barely noticeable, but here to my trained eye, that's kind of what I'm seeing where the rotation would be. So an updated storm track for this, it's moving at about 40 miles per hour. And it's going to be arriving here in Sedalia pretty soon. Sedalia 10:06. So you got about 5 minutes until the worst of this moves through. Georgetown here as well around 10:05, 10:13 towards Newland, Beeman there at 10:15. And then it'll move maybe out of Pettis County further into central Missouri. So this is the zone we're going to watch. As I look at our wind mode here, I do want to update and query this because we've seen some rotation. And here on Fox 4 radar, our green winds are northerly winds going towards the radar. These reds are coming away from the radar almost now east, now that we're due east of Pleasant Hill. So this is the area of rotation here. And as I click on these and query these wind areas or wind zones, I'm seeing maybe around 60 mile per hour rotation as this storm moves into Sedalia. This 50, 60 mile per hour rotation zone is really strong enough to produce a quick spin up, as we've seen this evening on this leading edge, and we're seeing the rotation tracker also showing that this storm is kind of heading right towards Sedalia. So hopefully it'll miss town, but it looks like it could impact the north side of town. It is not far from the fairgrounds or Sedalia Country Club out on the west side of town, coming in Highway Y, and it's about to cross Highway 50. So again, if there's a tornado, there's where it is. And so hopefully friends in Sedalia, if they're not paying attention to the weather, give them a text or call. Now's the time to take those tornado precautions for a couple of quick spin-ups as these move through. Joe?
Yeah, I want to give the folks down towards St. Clair County a little heads up. We've been tracking thunderstorms coming out of southeastern Kansas, but perhaps some good news. We'll see how this evolves over the next about hour or so. But all these thunderstorms, and this is out of our viewing area, but we do have a lot of folks down towards St. Clair County that watch us. All these thunderstorms that you see here have pushed out what we call a outflow boundary. It's kind of like a little mini cold front, and I've kind of sketched it in for you. So the likelihood of these cells down towards St. Clair County and Vernon County of producing those quick little spin-ups is reduced. This is a common feature when you have a squall line. It pushes out some rain-cooled air, and when that happens, the atmosphere is not set up anymore to produce these little mesovortices. Sometimes radar will show them, but in reality, the lowest part of the atmosphere is not set up for it. So some good news aside from the real heavy rains that's coming down. So if you live around Lowry City, Appleton City, you can still get some strong winds, don't get me wrong. You can still get 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds, but these would be more associated with some straight line winds as opposed to anything else. And we've got, some real heavy rains from Lowry City down into the Nevada area along the I-49 corridor. So that's certainly something for the folks down in St. Clair County in particular, just to be, aware of, that the risk of something more tornadic for you folks seems to be diminishing. And for those of you joining us now that we're coming into the 10 o'clock newscast, again, this is all east of Kansas City. We've got light to at times moderate rain around the metro. We've seen tornadoes today. Once again, just like yesterday, there were tornadoes north and there were tornadoes south. Not quite as many as what we saw yesterday south of here, but northern Missouri, they had themselves a day today with tornadoes, severe weather, some damage. Nothing too great, but there's some scattered areas of damage up across parts of northern Missouri. But for Kansas City, once again, we sort of lucked out. Not totally shocked by that for today. And if you were watching last night, we were really focusing our attention for tonight's activity to be more southeast of Kansas City. And these tornado warnings that we've seen off and on for the last about hour and a half or so certainly bear witness to an accurate forecast for areas south and east of Kansas City. So again, for the folks down towards Pettis County, that's our main area of concern right now. And we'll see. I haven't seen anything of confirmation in terms of what's going on with this stuff, but it's noteworthy enough that we kind of need to pay attention to it, particularly that little notch. That's probably about as good as we've seen all night long from that little notch right there towards Sedalia. And again, if you live in Sedalia, I want you to go ahead and take cover. That circulation area would be right about there, right around West 16th Street in particular. That's a problem area that we need to watch right in through there. That's the issue, and that's coming right towards Sedalia, maybe the north side of Sedalia. So again, along US 50, around West 16th Street, please make sure you're in your safe spot. Sirens no doubt are going off. If those sirens get turned off briefly to recycle, that does not mean that the tornado warning is done. It's not. All right, that tornado warning continues for a while longer. Right now, it looks like it's going to pass south of Georgetown, near and just towards maybe the north and west side of Sedalia. Dresden, you're fine. Lamont, you're fine. All right, so if you're in your safe spot, you could come out. But again, you could kind of use your imagination on this, and I'll draw a little straight line for you just to kind of give you an idea. That's the circulation that we're concerned about, and it's generally moving something along that line. I want to kind of go back and forth. You could see it there, there, there. That's the most current one. So there, there, there. Here it is. Next step, next step. So that's the area that we're watching for Sedalia in particular. This is Pettis County. You folks down there, please make sure you are in your safe spot. This is a no-doubter in terms of I want you to be in your safe spot just to be on the safe side. So again, down towards Sedalia, that's the area of most concern right now. We'll kind of give you a little better view. So it's right in through there, very close to 16th Street, near Green Ridge Road, that general area towards Sedalia. And I'm going to put a storm track on this too for areas off towards the east of Sedalia, just to kind of give you a little more perspective. So based on that particular track, Sedalia, next couple of minutes, be in your safe spot. Beeman by about 10:18, Clifton City by about 10:25. Clifton City is technically not in that tornado warning as of yet. We'll see if they extend it downstream. Beeman is, though, and we'll get a pretty good idea. If that thing's producing, obviously now that it's coming into a more populated area, we'll have a pretty darn good idea whether or not that thing is connected with a tornado at that. My colleagues down at the National Weather Service just a couple of minutes ago reporting that the rotation has weakened maybe just a little bit, all right, but they're going to keep the warning going. So just to be on the safe side, we're going to keep this warning going for at least the next 5-10 minutes or so, maybe even a little bit longer than that, as it continues to move off towards the east-northeast. Jacob.
Yeah, Joe, so I wanted to kind of get a really close zoom in here of this to watch these notches here and kind of see if I can pinpoint exactly where the possible tornado could be. And it's almost like it's maybe trying to drift a little further south on this line, which would be ideal if we can miss Sedalia if this is on the ground. The wind mode here, the velocity has actually weakened maybe a touch and re-strengthened just south of Sedalia. So when we look at the notch here, which is kind of the easiest view for me to see where there's a potential tornado, it actually may now be just here on the south side of Sedalia. Right about there. So if there is a tornado, it would be right there on Sacagawea Road heading towards Cambridge Drive and Tiger Pride Boulevard. So we are south of 16th Street and just south of the State Fairgrounds, maybe 32nd Street, Grand Avenue, Kentucky Avenue, Warren Street, south of Clarendon Road. This is where, if there's a brief touchdown, it would be on the south side of Sedalia. So a slightly more zoomed out zone to show you. Again, there would be the notch moving on the south side through the southern neighborhoods of Sedalia. Hopefully it's not on the ground. I think we will get some reports if it is, as it's moving over a more populated area. But right now, at least, it looks like it may trying to be cycling and passing through. And Joe, it looks like you have a new update for us.
Yeah, I want to take you down towards Benton County, where we're getting a tornado warning now. For Benton County, there's a little circulation possible near Lincoln. There's an area of tighter rotation there that's moving off towards the east-northeast. Again, kind of fringy on our viewing area, but I know we've got viewers in Cole Camp. I'll hear from the viewers every so often down towards Cole Camp. So I want you folks in Cole Camp, Crockerville, all right, to go ahead and take cover from this. You're now in that tornado warning. This is going to pass probably towards the south of Ionia. We'll keep an eye on that little area south of Ionia. I want to give you a specific time as far as this tornado warning goes. This is going to go for Benton County, northern Benton County, until 10:30. That's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Lincoln, 9 miles north of Warsaw, moving towards the northeast at close to 40 miles an hour. So with the basis of that general speed, let me go ahead and give you a little time frame on this as well. Let me just recalculate the speed on this for that Lincoln County storm. Moving off towards the northeast at close to 40 miles an hour, so right there, doing something generally like that. That's going to take it towards Cole Camp by about 10:20, Crockerville by about 10:28, Stover by 10:37, and Florence by 10:43. There's Tipton right there. Hopefully it doesn't make it towards the Tipton area, but for you folks in Cole Camp, go ahead and take cover from this just to be on the safe side. Again, we haven't gotten any confirmed touchdowns with this, but there's a tight enough indication on our velocity data from our colleagues down at the National Weather Service in Springfield that we want to go ahead and make sure you folks are safely warned and in a safe spot. This is right along 65 Highway into Lincoln, Missouri, north of Warsaw. So this is passing north of Warsaw down towards the lakes into the northern part of Benton County. And again, moving off towards the east-northeast at roughly 40 miles an hour, hopefully passing north of Stover. And just to kind of give you your bearings, there's 52 Highway. So we're all the way down towards the Lake of the Ozarks, almost. Certainly on the road towards the Lake of the Ozarks. For those of you who have been down towards the lakes, you're very familiar with this general area around Cole Camp and stuff like that. So again, that circulation in our latest radar just updated. Let me clear it out and I'll give you a new storm track on this. Let's see, right there, I kind of see it and doing something like that. So here's an update for the timing on this. Stover 10:31, Florence 10:38, Tipton 10:55 if it holds together. Obviously, we're also concerned about something a little bit closer to home up into Pettis County, and a tornado warning continues in Pettis County as well. For more on that, here's Jacob.
Yeah, Joe, so we've been watching that area of circulation that's moving towards Sedalia, and it's crossing 65 highway right now. So Sedalia, we've been telling you to stay in your tornado safe place until this passes through. Still probably about 5 more minutes until that happens. So let's just remain and watch this for a few more minutes, and hopefully pretty soon all of these severe thunderstorms and rotating storms will be out of our area here pretty soon as we approach the next 15 minutes or so. This warning set to expire at 10:15, and the National Weather Service saying that they are seeing what I'm seeing, and that rotation's weakening a little bit near Sedalia. Still, though, could be a spin up, but likely not as strong or as significant as we were seeing a little earlier as it was approaching town. So that's good news for our friends and neighbors down in Sedalia. Right now, our wind mode and velocity showing maybe some weak rotation or strong winds up towards the Newland area and also just south of Sedalia. On the rotation tracker, that's what we're keeping tabs on. Again, showing that maybe the best rotation actually may be up towards Hughesville now, up in northern Pettis County. So those are some zones we're watching for. I'll take the radar mode here, the reflectivity, and kind of put a storm track on it. Still seeing a notch there just on the south side of Sedalia. I think this is the zone where there might be maybe a brief spin up along 65 highway. This is moving off towards the east about 40 miles per hour or so, and so putting an ETA here, moving away from our area, but over towards Newland by 10:15 here in the next few minutes, Beeman by 10:18, Clifton City by 10:20. Smithton at 10:27, and Otterville there by 10:34. So once it gets towards Otterville, that's going to be out of our area and just off towards the east into Cooper County. So that's the tornado warning that we're watching there in Pettis County. Joe is also tracking that storm further south. And Joe, it almost looks like that the notch there near Lincoln or Cole Camp is a little bit more pronounced than the one up in Pettis County. That's pretty noticeable.
Yeah, that's
to me.
not bad. Not bad at all. Or it is bad, but from a radar standpoint, that's not a bad look in terms of the tornadic situation. That's down towards Benton County. That's north of Warsaw for a rotation area sighted on radar or indicated on radar. Just towards the north of Warsaw and now east of Lincoln. Tornado warnings obviously continue, and we've got severe thunderstorm warnings. A brand new one just came out just a little while ago. This would be for the folks over towards Lamont, Leesville, Sedalia, Windsor. Severe thunderstorm warnings go until 10:45, including Henry, Johnson, Pettis County. About 29,000 folks affected by that. And again, St. Clair County still under a severe thunderstorm warning, and that's going to go until 10:45 as well for about another half hour or so. Tornado warnings again for parts of Pettis County, especially near and east of Smithville, and rather near and east of Sedalia, I should say. That goes until 10:15, so hopefully that'll get expired here very shortly. For Benton County, that goes until about 10:30. You folks down towards Cole Camp, make sure you're in your safe spot to be on the safe side as far as that goes. And again, here's the Sedalia storm that's moving off towards the east. It's right now, the leading edge at least, right along 65 highway. All right, so that 65 highway corridor, points eastbound, are vulnerable to at least some stronger straight line winds. Whether or not there's a tornado or not, whatever. But these strong straight line winds can still do the same type of damage that we would see with some of these little mesovortices that we've been getting indications of on radar. Beeman 10:20 heading your way. Otterville 10:30. Pilot Grove at least the leading edge. All right, perhaps not tornadic, but maybe some stronger straight line winds. Otterville by about 10:30 or so, and then eventually it gets more into the central Missouri area off towards the east of Pettis County. So this is, quite the storm. We're getting a lot of lightning coming out of that. So from, near Sweet Springs into Lafayette County, all the way down through Hughesville, Dresden, Green Ridge, Cole Camp. That's that one storm that's got a little rotation near the Cole Camp area. So for this area and points east, it's a rough drive along US 50, that's for sure. Smithton, just give it a few more minutes. That leading edge is going to come your way here very shortly. Meanwhile, for the metro, I'm hearing some rumbles of thunder outside right now. I do want to quickly touch base on the metro, if we can, just to kind of give you an idea that, again, all of this nasty weather is well east of Kansas City. So the flooding rains, the bigger issue with the more majority of that area, if you will, as opposed to these little spin-ups that affect very small areas. The flooding rains could be a bigger issue out in this area. Thankfully, you know, the system is moving along at a nice little clip now, so maybe that reduces that potential rainfall just a little bit. But you could get 1 to 2+ inches of rain just from this as it moves off towards the east and east-northeast at around 40 to 50 miles an hour or so. Around Kansas City, we just have, you know, just as we've mentioned off and on during the course of the evening, just some really good soaking rains, and we're getting the blow off on some of the rains that are down towards southern Kansas. Some of that rain moving up into the metro as we speak. For areas further north and west of Kansas City, northeast Kansas, far northwestern Missouri, you're getting a quiet night, so that's good. You could probably see quite the little light show off towards your south and east. For areas further south of Kansas City, down towards southeastern Kansas, tell you, I feel like there's been a tornado warning down here for the last 2 hours. Near Fredonia, over towards Chanute, they're still under tornado warnings. All right, so those will go until about 10:30 or 11 o'clock. This one area, that one cell just towards the east of Fredonia, that's got an observed tornado, and there was a tornado reported with that. The other one is radar indicated a little bit further off towards the east. But again, for Kansas City proper, we're just looking at general rains and some rumbles of thunder that'll continue out here. Benton County, now the main area of concern. The Sedalia area, Jacob's going to hopefully tell me that Sedalia's been cleared from this?
Correct. Your
All right,
hopes are
that's fabulous.
true, Joe.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So Pettis County has been dropped, or their tornado warning has expired. The Benton tornado warning still goes here until 10:30. And I've been watching again our rain mode, this reflectivity for the little notches and eddies here. And I'm seeing 2 of them near Cole Camp, and our partners down at National Weather Service Springfield that cover Benton County also noting those as well. So near the Cole Camp area, I'm going to highlight 2 of these for us. One of them moving right along the county line with Pettis there, just south of Spring Fork, moving east of 65 Highway. Another one tracking just south of Cole Camp along 52 Highway over towards Crockerville and eventually Stover. So these are 2 possible spin-up zones kind of going on either side of Cole Camp. So at least they're not going right over Cole Camp, but going on either side of Cole Camp here in northern Benton County, and that's why this tornado warning is continuing. When we look at the wind mode or velocity, we can also kind of see those 2 eddies, one of which is near Cole Camp, just on the south side there. So I'll kind of query some of these winds and see what we're dealing with. So these winds, green, negative toward the radar, red, positive away. When we add these up, that's about 70-mile-per-hour rotation there near Cole Camp. So that's a notable eddy. So we told you about 10 minutes ago, Cole Camp, to seek your tornado shelter. Stay there for a couple more minutes. Again, that's an interior room away from windows and doors, basement, closet, interior bathroom is ideal. We have a rotating potential spin up there along 52 Highway near Cole Camp in Benton County. And just north of Cole Camp is that other zone. As I look at our rotation tracker here, it looks like it's picking up maybe on the northern one a little bit more, but still these 2 distinct zones, one coming in on the south side, one on the north side of Cole Camp, maybe heading up towards Bonner there in southern Pettis County. So those are the zones we're watching right now in Benton County. A wider view, I did want to just check back in, because we haven't in a while, on our exclusive Fox 4 tornado predictor here. And the good news is that these values seem to be trending downwards, especially for this line that we've been seeing and tracking since the Kansas state line. They've tracked through Bates, Cass, Johnson, Henry, now into Pettis and Benton counties. Really for the last 2 hours, now slowly moving over towards Columbia and Jefferson City, which, by the way, have been added to a tornado watch until 4 a.m. for central Missouri. Our tornado watch expires at midnight, and we've been dropping some counties too. The tornado threat continues from Chanute to, say, Nevada, Osceola, down towards Cole Camp and Osage Beach there down at the Lake of the Ozarks. But generally for our areas, that tornado risk continues to decrease. So we're still watching this one storm, but overall, it looks like the trend is that once this storm exits Benton County, our areas will likely should be clear from the tornado threat. Still, though, distinct notches there on either side of Cole Camp, one just on the south side of the community along 52 Highway, one right up on the Pettis County line. So we'll be watching these as they move through. Cole Camp still maybe 2-3 more minutes in the safe place before this crosses the county line over towards Stover. And we'll continue to keep an eye on this. Joe, I know Springfield National Weather Service is covering this zone for us in Cole Camp. I don't know if they have any updates. They've been watching those 2 notches though.
So for areas further south of there, again, just an update for St. Clair, or actually for Benton County. Really kind of for St. Clair County too. And Benton County technically is not in our viewing area, but we do have viewers down there, we know. And so we're going to probably get back to news here in the next couple of minutes. But these thunderstorms south of that little possible circulation has pushed out some rain-cooled air. So Warsaw, you're getting thunderstorms, but you're not set up for any tornadic thunderstorms. Likewise over towards Osceola, up towards Lowry City, pretty loud thunder, pretty vivid lightning, pretty heavy rains coming down as well. Haven't really seen any hail reports in a long time. So aside from the heavy rains, the frequent lightning, and the big old cracks of thunder, probably waking up the house and freaking out the dogs, that's been about the worst of it now in northern St. Clair County over the last about hour or so. But as long as this outflow boundary has been pushed out of those thunderstorms for Warsaw, points southward, the threat of tornadic weather has come to an end. We'll continue to focus our attention over towards that Cole Camp vicinity, and particularly off towards the east of Cole Camp, just because that's the main concern right now with this little area of rotation that would maybe try to produce something. I mean, it looks pretty good from a radar standpoint. Can't argue with that presentation on radar, but I haven't had any reports of anything actually on the ground with this. And again, I want to give this just a few more minutes of coverage just because of our viewers down towards Cole Camp. And then once we get it into the northeast part of the county, we'll go ahead and send it back to news. But again, for Cole Camp, I want you folks to be in your safe spot just for probably about another 5 minutes or so as it continues to move off towards the east-northeast. This is going to move further away and more towards, really down towards the Lake of the Ozarks, and that general vicinity over towards, maybe Tipton could have an issue with this down the road. We're talking maybe about an hour from now or something like that. I'll put a little storm track on this just to kind of give you an idea. That's that little circulation area right in through there. And, so if we take it to Tipton, which is not in that tornado warning, 11 o'clock would be the time frame that we're looking at, somewhere between 10:50 and 11 o'clock. Florence due in around 10:42, Syracuse by about 10:54. So this general area right in through there, that's the area that we're going to kind of keep an eye on. And on the assumption that we don't get anything developing further south, and I'm noticing they're issuing a tornado warning for that county east of Benton. Assuming that nothing else happens down here, I think we're going to be okay for the eastern portion of Benton County. So we're just about, I think we're just about, I'm taking a look back into Pettis County just to be on the safe side with this.
Yep.
Not seeing anything really overly tight.
There's that maybe not right there south of Smithton, Joe. So they did issue this new tornado warning downstream into Morgan County from Otterville to Versailles. And also, this storm has had a history of producing some damage and maybe a brief tornado touchdown across Henry Bates County. Jacob Sloan, our reporter down, has been tracking these storms all day. And do we have Jacob? And Jacob, I'm curious where you are right now and if you've seen any storm damage as you've kind of been driving behind this line of storms.
Yeah, hey, other Jacob. We've been tracking this kind of line of storms from, I would say, almost Garnett, Kansas over towards Clinton, Missouri. And so we did cross the state line. Let me just show you where we're at now. Hold on one second here. We have just passed Creighton, Missouri, heading up kind of towards Harrisonville. We are just seeing some light rain right now, but I will tell you, we did see a little bit of storm damage. I'm going to call that eastern western Bates County into eastern Henry County. we saw just a little bit of storm damage, and I mean a little bit as in a couple limbs were down, and obviously there were leaves in the road, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't say that it was anything worth. I mean, I didn't see any damages to structures, damages to power lines. I know you guys have been talking about that tonight. We didn't see any of that, nor did we see any rotation from these storms. But we did see a little damage. The biggest thing that we saw was in, I would say, the Kansas side of things, Garnett, Blue Mound, Mound City. That would have been some pretty heavy flooding, and it was getting into the roads at one point. As you see here on the Missouri side, we're on Highway 7 heading north. We're not seeing a whole lot of flooding on the roads, just some water, but I will tell you the flooding towards on the Kansas side, Blue Mound, Mound City, that was pretty impressive. We saw even the fields getting a good soaking of water. But in terms of damage, have not seen much, just some limbs on the ground and some leaves all over the road for now.
Okay, thanks, Jacob. Yeah, appreciate you driving around tracking these storms. Good news that we haven't seen a lot of damage from those. Jacob Sloan reporting live from down in Henry County. So here is the potential. We've had some isolated damage reports down near Rich Hill, south of Chilhowee there, north of Clinton, Chilhowee there in southern Johnson, northern Henry County. Again, the tornado threat now moving away from Sedalia and Cole Camp. It's into Morgan County, Missouri. Our tornado watch continues until midnight, but generally the threat is essentially ended now for all of our counties. I expect this tornado watch to be dropped here pretty soon. Now, the issue we have here, and we've been talking about this for a while, is that though our storms are exiting tonight, we do not have a severe weather risk overnight here in the Kansas City metro. We will still see some rain. As we head into tomorrow morning, we wake up with some shower activity with the potential for some storms trying to develop around lunchtime. So around 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow, we're just going to have to watch for maybe a few cells. Probably not a big tornado threat, maybe some small hail, gusty winds, and lightning, but we're going to continue to monitor that for tomorrow. So your Sunday forecast still kind of stormy with hit and miss rain chances from the morning through the afternoon with those temperatures in the afternoon in the low 70s. Some thunder in the vicinity, at least during portions of the day tomorrow, and some additional rain. Here's the severe weather outlook for tomorrow. It's a level 2 risk here in the Kansas City metro and across most of Missouri. I think the highest chance for severe weather is off to our east as we head towards Columbia, Lake of the Ozarks, but I still can't rule out a couple of thunderstorms here in the Kansas City metro for tomorrow here on Sunday. So here's our long ranger forecast. We haven't gotten to show this yet because we've been busy showing the severe thunderstorms. So our storm chances tomorrow remain high in the 70s. Monday's going to be great. We're going to have sunshine, temperatures in the low 70s. We do make it into the 80s Tuesday with some more unsettled weather storm chances Wednesday, Thursday, and to Friday. We're going to watch that right now. It doesn't scream severe weather setup to me, but it's something that we're going to be keeping an eye on closely as we head towards next weekend. Classic spring here in Kansas City with this unsettled pattern here as we head through the end of April. So a final update here, a Fox 4 radar. Still some showers and storms ongoing across the Kansas City metro. Nothing severe here though. Further off towards the south, the good news is our severe weather threat is now ending as the storm near Sedalia and Cole Camp with that possible tornado is crossing into Morgan County north of Versailles and Stover, about to cross the county line there. And so Sedalia, Cole Camp, Lincoln, and Warsaw, we are now in the all clear. So these storms continue to move off towards the east. And the good news is behind them, we have kind of stable atmosphere. We have rain and storms ongoing, but nothing severe here for the KC metro. Severe thunderstorms now extending east of Marshall, east of Sedalia, east of Warsaw. And we may continue to see some storms off to the south. We'll watch this zone of storms from Chanute to Osceola and give you updates through the evening. Otherwise, though, we are essentially done with our severe weather coverage. Everything's exiting our area, which is great news. Thanks for trusting Fox 4 and staying with us all day as the storms move through. We'll provide updates if needed overnight. I don't think that's going to be expected, but for now, we'll send you back to our evening programming. Have a good night.